Meeting to order, Griggs County Commission. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll do roll first. John. Here. Dale. Here. Ron. Here. Sean is absent. Troy's here. Okay. Any additions or corrections to the agenda other than the meeting minutes from March 19th? I think we'll add that under meeting minutes approval.
This one can just be thrown.
That's just a shotgun solicitation. I get those at the bank every once in a while. Any additions or corrections to the agenda other than the addition of the meeting minutes from yesterday?
This thing. That permit or whatever.
Oh, I talked to him. So. Okay.
Also add a application for a local charity permit, which is a raffle permit, I believe. We'll talk about that after Wayne gets done. You need water board on here?
No.
No? Okay.
Were we going to separate out the...
I will do that when we get to that point, I think.
Yep. I'd move to accept the minute for the agenda with the addition of the two items.
Been moved by Dale to approve the agenda as amended. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we have a bunch of minutes. Not a bunch, I guess. Well, a bunch of short minutes. February 20th.
They all got changed at the last minute or meeting, and so then I went back and did my changes, and so now it's just for you guys to review.
I wasn't at the last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
What got changed?
That one was...
One was... I had made a motion and I seconded it.
Yeah, there was that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's little stuff.
It was technical.
Yeah, I think it was.
I mean, it was non-technical things. And then one paragraph.
There was more to be changed on the March 3rd minutes.
I missed that meeting. No, March 3rd I was
That was the mediation
minutes.
And so the...
paragraph on page 3 was where we made some changes for the clarifications.
Yep.
It didn't change the content of it, it just changed the explanation.
Yep.
Made it more clear.
I move we approve the February 20th meeting minutes and dispense with the reading.
Moved by Dale, to approve the February 20th Commissioners meeting minutes and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Also on February 20th, we held a weed board meeting in conjunction with the Commissioners meeting.
I think that one just added the gentleman's name.
On January 20th.
Dale, could you check the spelling of his name for me, please?
January 20th?
Yeah, it's MEC.
Or am I, oh, I'm on the wrong one. I'm sorry. So I didn't have the old.
M-A capital C?
Capital A.
Capital A.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all I saw.
Okay.
Yeah, in the old weed board meetings, we had January 20th as the date.
Okay.
And see, I see you revised that to February 20th.
Yep, yep.
And I believe that was the only change.
Except for Jim McAllister's name
Yeah,
was spelled
I
wrong.
had gentleman, that
Okay,
he was going to contact the
right.
gentleman,
Okay.
and then I revised it to his name.
100% reimbursement, everything else does.
Okay.
It's MCALLISTER.
LL.
E-L-L.
And no A after the M,
No.
just MC.
M-A-C,
No, not MAC, just
Oh.
MC.
got it. M-C, capital A-L-L-I-S-T-E-R. Okay, perfect. I will revise that then.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the February 20th weed board minutes
As amended.
as amended with dispense with the reading.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Ron. All, is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, March 3rd, which was our mediation day.
Yeah, one of the changes, before we had motion by Sean, then you changed it to motion by Stefan.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, there was a lot of Sean's, and then I had to
yeah,
change them to Stefan.
but I think the settlement agreement, that 172,000 looks 274,000. Had A through F before.
And then I blanked out the
Tax ID number.
Yep, I blanked that
Oh,
out,
okay,
and
yep.
then there was future funding that was added, I remember, and then it was future funding
Future funding.
and that there was discussion on future funding. Where is that at?
That was on
Is that on a
February
different
20th
set?
minutes, I think.
Yeah, we didn't deal with anything like that in that meeting.
I move to approve the March 3rd special meeting minutes and dispense the reading.
Been moved by Dale to approve the March 3rd meeting minutes and dispense with reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to the March 6th meeting minutes.
Looks like from the March 6th meeting minutes that we've already approved our prior minutes as amended.
What's wrong?
We've already approved these other minutes as amended in our March 6th meeting. We doubled down on
Where do you see that?
And
So
the-
should they not be coming up, do you think?
Well, if they're not, if they were approved as amended, they don't need to be approved again.
Okay.
Well, March 6th was our last meeting.
Yep. And then you guys went through these and changed them, and then there was a motion to approve them as amended.
But this is the first time we've seen the March 6th, isn't it?
And no, he's
Yeah.
talking about these previous
prior
ones.
minutes.
In the March 6 meetings, you approved the February 20th meeting minutes, and we just approved them again.
Okay.
We didn't need to do that.
All right.
I missed that in this when I looked at these minutes too.
Super approved.
Yes.
March 3rd meeting minutes were approved too.
They were approved, and then you modified them.
Mhm.
And
And
that's
then-
why do you normally do that, take them back after?
You don't need to bring them back if they're amended. You just amend them because they were approved as amended.
Yeah, so I don't.
You can bring them
There-
back
there was-
up here.
There was a few different ways that one of these got revised, and so then that's why I wanted to make sure that I did it correctly.
Did the amendments correctly?
Yeah, so then that's why I brought some of these back, I guess. I didn't know that I didn't have to, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think you have in the past, but,
I guess we'd like to look at it, but we don't need to approve them again. That's,
Right.
yeah, you're right. We should make sure the amendments she puts in there are what we agreed to.
And that's what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
Because we made, it wasn't just a minor change, it was a change of a paragraph or whatever, and she was trying to give us another look at it. And what we should have done is, we should just suspended the minutes until the next meeting.
You should have just skipped over them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And said, change this, this, and this, and this, and not approved them, and then
Yeah.
we could approve them now. But
But we didn't. We were the leadership truck.
Yeah, yeah.
we're adrift.
You wait for one meeting. Get so screwed up.
Well, it wasn't that meeting that it got screwed up, it was this meeting. I should have caught that when I read the March 6 minutes.
On these, March 6th,
Yes.
on page 10, You said state's attorney Tennyson informed the commission on the Mabel home taxes. I think that was the mobile home taxes.
Mobile, yep.
Okay.
Okay, page 10.
Page 10, about 4 paragraphs from the bottom.
Yeah.
Mabel
Okay.
should be mobile.
Yep, okay.
Mobile.
So there's a mobile home in Griggs County.
I think it's in Aquansit.
I was gonna say, it's a little sketchy.
Oh, that's right. There's Mabel.
Okay, anything else on meeting minutes from March 6th?
I'll move to approve the March 6th meeting minutes as amended and dispense with the reading.
Been moved by Ron to approve the March 6th meeting minutes as amended and dispense with the reading. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. March 19th. Yesterday. Pretty short and sweet.
I move to approve the March 19th meeting minutes and dispense with the reading.
Been moved by Dale to approve the March 19th meeting minutes and dispense with the reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on here to the bills. I think before we get started, I see this Bank of North Dakota payment is in here, which I believe is not due until for another month. Is that right?
25th of April.
I think we should set that one aside and talk about it under the new courthouse.
Okay.
And not approve it as part of this vouchers.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'd second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. If anybody wants to see a copy of any of these invoices, they're here.
There was, I had a question on these, and so that's why I was going to bring it to you. The one for construction engineers
Mm-hmm.
and the one for the Shirkland law firm. I have it coming out of general courthouse, but wondering if you wanted it to come out of general reserve.
No, general courthouse wasn't funded this year. So I think it should have went into and come out of courthouse and grounds, I think. Where are we putting the money from the,
There was $57,107.59 in the general courthouse right now.
But the general courthouse, isn't that the mill levy account to pay the lease with?
no, that is, new courthouse, I think.
And there was nothing in new courthouse. That's why I didn't.
Courthouse tax increase.
There is money in that one, in the tax increase. And that's what I have, I think bank Forward, did we have one for them? I thought it was Insure Forward.
Yeah, that's the.
I think that's the one that is coming out of the tax increase.
No. Okay. The Insure Forward, that is the insurance, that
Or
should
no.
come out of this, that should come out of this courthouse and grounds. And we allowed $60,000 into that fund.
Okay.
What do you have there? What's the balance of that?
Of the courthouse and grounds?
Right. Or do you just have it labeled courthouse?
It might just be courthouse.
What was the original starting balance?
I don't know. I don't know that. I just know the balance of it now is this number.
Okay, what fund do the grant grant dollars go into?
Go into new courthouse, I do believe. I do believe that's the one that
And
comes
that's only used for those dollars, correct?
in. I do believe so, yep.
It's not the new courthouse tax increase. It doesn't go into that one.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. I think it just goes into new courthouse.
Okay.
And then that's why that one was like an in and out account.
Okay.
So there was nothing in there. That's why I didn't take it out of this one. That's why I was going to bring it up to you guys and see which account you wanted it to come out of.
Well, which one are we talking about here first?
Well, I have construction engineers and the Circland law firm.
Who?
The
Yeah.
Shirkland
Law
one.
firm, that's a mediator.
Yep.
Right.
Oh,
Okay, so the 274,000, that is a combination of the grant dollars, which is $100,000 basically. What account is that in?
we had,
New courthouse that
Okay,
I know of.
okay, so that amount needs to come out of the new courthouse.
Okay.
And then the check from the building authority, I believe, needs to go into the courthouse and grounds fund. Or the courthouse fund, however you have it here.
Okay. The new courthouse or general courthouse.
So that when we draw the funds out, we're not intermingling anything.
Where?
So the grant money funds need to come out and cut those two amounts,
Okay.
or less the 172,000,
Okay.
okay?
And then the balance will come out of emergency.
No, we'll have to take the balance out of the reserve. We'll have to transfer money into the reserve unless we want to take it all out of the reserve. The problem is going to be that we're spending money that when the grant dollars come back in, they're supposed to be dedicated towards the project, not towards, we're not supposed to prepay dollars with this thing.
and we've got 55,000 in an account somewhere.
Yep. And I do believe that's in new courthouse.
That's in the new courthouse.
Yep, that's-
So that's the one we're gonna be 45,000 short in,
Mhm.
unless we transfer some in or just let it be short for now.
Well, it can be short for
Yeah.
short term.
Yeah, and then just repay it when we get the,
Then
Yeah,
we can true it up when the dust settles.
yeah.
Correct. It needs to come out of the, that's what we set that reserve up for, was that.
Right.
Okay, so the 100, what was the check from construction, or from building authority? What was the amount of that? You have that?
$167,000.
What?
167,000.
That's not what we agreed to in
Or no,
mediation.
172. Sorry.
Okay.
Was it? Yeah, it was like 172.
There we go.
Yeah.
Exactly?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so they still have money in the bank?
No, by coincidence, the attorney's fees and the mediator fees equaled the exact amount to take to 172. But they billed it before the mediation.
Yeah, Circland adjusted his number here, this 935, so that there was coincidentally 172 left in their account. Just a
Can't argue with precision, man.
complete coincidence.
Wow.
I think the last sip out of my beer too.
Yeah. Like Like Vernon Johnson always used to say, figures don't lie, liars figure.
Okay, so the 172 comes out of, will go into the courthouse and grounds fund, correct?
Okay, so
Everybody in agreement with that?
172 goes into courthouse and grounds.
Or courthouse, I think you call it courthouse.
I had general courthouse.
Courthouse general.
Plus general fund means courthouse, but there is, see, in the courthouse, in the general fund, there is a courthouse and grounds and there is a courthouse.
I thought the courthouse and grounds was for maintenance for the custodian. That's what we've been taking that out of, is courthouse and grounds.
So you've been putting it in the other one, not the courthouse and grounds. Courthouse.
I've been taking,
The courthouse wasn't funded, the courthouse and grounds was funded for $60,000 for 2015.
okay, yeah, you're right, okay. So then this one was the courthouse and grounds.
Well, I don't know that. That's the courthouse and grounds. What is set up for just that? It's for repairs and things like that. But this is money that is going into that doesn't have any other place to go. It's coming in and going back out again.
Right, right.
So I think the best place to put it is in an account that's funded already. That's active.
So general courthouse. Okay. And so then that's where you want, so these ones coming out of that account are fine.
Well, the 172 will come out of that account, and then the balance will come out of the fund we're using for the grant. And what is that?
New courthouse.
Okay. And then that will make that fund now then will be $43,000 over.
What were you going to do?
Okay, $274,000 to construction. We need to pay to construction engineers. 172,000 of it is from the building authority.
And that's going into courthouse and grounds.
Right.
And out of there again.
Correct.
So it'll just be combined when they draw that. The 274 check will just draw 172 from there, and it will draw the balance from the grant account, the new courthouse.
You're not using this account for anything, are
Is
you?
that what we want?
Except,
Yes, because we
This
don't
is the
want to
one-
put.
The tax
We
increase is
don't
the
want to
one that
intermingle
I took
that grant account with anything
the
other
bank
than.
forward, insure forward out.
I thought the new courthouse tax increase account was just for the mill levies coming in.
Yeah,
No, that's not the one we're talking about.
Okay, that's where I'm getting confused.
No, I didn't.
On which,
Well, I hope we're not. No,
No.
we're talking.
No, I'm
which
not.
new courthouse.
the
we're in.
only thing this account should be used for is to make the bond payment.
No, I'm not using that one.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought that was supposed to be for the insure forward, but no, I have that coming out of the general courthouse as
Yeah,
well.
when
Right.
you said new courthouse, I thought you meant new courthouse tax increase, but you didn't mean that.
That-
No.
That's a
Okay.
different account. That's a 2,000 account, this is a 4,000.
Yep.
Okay, we really need to make sure that this list of accounts is what the money's come out of. That list of accounts is both current and no longer used. These in the general fund are the only ones that were funded this year.
Yep, and then that's where I took those numbers and I put it into GovernSoft.
Okay,
And then when I take out money in these, that's when I run this report to make sure that nothing is going over. And I have the balance of them.
okay, so we have the new courthouse on this year's general wasn't funded. There was no funding for it.
Yep, I didn't have
Okay.
anything in there. That's why I didn't want to take it out of that one, because I knew that these ones probably should have been coming out of that one, since it was for the new courthouse, for the new
Courthouse and
courthouse.
grounds.
But, so then I just took it out of the courthouse and grounds.
Okay, and also there was a fund called courthouse, and that one wasn't funded at all this year either.
Okay.
But now there's also a fund called,
EOC grant or something, right?
Right, the EOC grant, and then where's the tax?
At the very bottom one, isn't it? New courthouse tax increase? Or it used to be on the very bottom.
It is in general. There's one called New Courthouse here, 445.
Okay, page 45 is the new courthouse. NDCC 571559. We renamed it to new courthouse tax increase.
Yep.
Rather than
Right.
571559.
Okay, that should only be the money from the taxes collected goes into that. Or the only thing that comes out of that is for the lease payment and the interest payments.
Yep,
That's
yep,
it. Okay.
yep.
Yeah.
I had the insured forward coming out of that, but then Connie said no.
Yeah, no, so the insurance, so then everything else for the courthouse comes out of the courthouse and grounds.
Yeah, okay. So then
Or the payments that we make, or payments made to construction engineers comes out of the grant fund. Now, where do those monies go into?
new courthouse.
New courthouse.
There was nothing.
Not this one, not the courthouse and grounds,
Nope.
the new courthouse
Yep,
right here.
yep.
Okay. And that's fine, that's fine, but that one, the only revenue to go into that account is to be from the grant dollars.
Right.
Okay. So then this $274,000 check the 172 will come out of the courthouse and grounds,
Yeah.
and the balance will come out of the new courthouse.
Okay. Yep.
Okay,
But the balance in the new courthouse right now is just 55, which is fine.
that's fine. That's
Yeah,
why we set.
we'll drop
That's
that.
why we set that reserve aside.
Yeah.
But in between time, we're going to get payments coming back in there to replenish that account.
Yeah, we'll just let it go negative for a few days.
Yeah.
So that money from the building authority should be going into the courthouse and grounds.
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
And we'll just treat it as an in and out account there.
Okay.
And then the insure forward has to come out of the courthouse and grounds.
Yep. I got that.
And the Strickland Law Firm comes out of the state's attorney's budget. Just kidding. I don't know what you want to look at, what you want to do.
It's like a legal item.
Whatever, I guess. I'll just beg for more money in December.
Shouldn't that come out of emergency?
Probably so, but then we gotta do a resolution and everything for $900 and some. We can take it out.
Well, it could come out of the state's attorney budget for. We have some miscellaneous stuff in there. If it goes over, I can just.
It'd be easier to take it out of the state's attorney and then just with the reserve fund that we set up to replenish that, to fix that at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Very good. Okay.
Will you grab me an account number to take that out of?
Yeah, I
Do
don't
you
know which
know?
one. Not prosecution expense, but there's a miscellaneous one.
Okay, just miscellaneous.
What is it? What page is that? Yeah. 7. I don't have the account numbers on here. It was miscellaneous, but it wasn't funded for nothing.
No, but
There's a prosecution cost.
I don't know if we should do prosecution costs, but we can.
We can fund it.
As long as the budget as long as the state's attorney budget as a whole isn't in a negative, it doesn't matter if each of those individuals has a negative. So.
Right. All right. So if we pull that, a year from now, if we pull that $274,000 check voucher out, it'll show the funds that came out of, correct?
Okay, say that again.
If we look at that $274,000 voucher after it's made out here, it'll show the three funds, or the two funds that came out of.
Correct.
Okay.
Let's see, state's attorney, we got salary, secretary, trial, overtime, prosecution, trial, books and transcripts, dues, office supplies, research, equipment.
I think there's a miscellaneous.
Yeah, there is a miscellaneous someplace.
There's a miscellaneous here, but it's not funded, right?
But as long as those line items don't go over budgeted, as a
Yeah, it can be shuffled
As
around
a-
inside the
yeah.
state's attorney's line items can be shuffled around.
as long as the state's attorney budget itself isn't over,
Okay.
and it won't be.
So that's account number 901 within the state's attorney.
And the insure forward, that's for the insurance for only for 6 months now. That's horrible to insure that building.
From what month to what month, do you remember?
Did he contact you?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I have some.
March 1st, it was over, so the grace period was, no, March 15th.
Until September 15th?
Yeah.
And how come it went up so much?
It hasn't, that's what it was. It's that high. because
It's uninhabited.
Uninhabited.
Okay, I was thinking it was lower before.
Right, but and this is probably for the, you brought up now because we're talking about it, but I believe that going forward, that somebody other than Griggs County is responsible for that. Yeah, so,
I have a question on this Amber Delph's abatement.
Yep.
Mike farming?
I don't believe so.
They're,
I think he's
what do they have,
trucking.
a 3-year beginner's permit or something?
Maybe he is farming some with his dad. I don't know.
Well, number one, it's got to be over 10 acres to be a farm. It's 2.7 acres. Number two, your primary occupation is supposed to be farming. He's never been a farmer. As far as I know, he's not farming now. He's a truck driver, and she works at the bank.
Yeah, we talked about it.
The local taxing authority, we went off what they approved it, so
Yeah.
Understand that.
we didn't conduct any due diligence on what they provided to us.
Would you like me to go get it?
I read it.
Okay.
I'm just questioning. I mean, they answered the questionnaire truthfully, and it said, "Do you?" And of course, we probably should have taken it up with the township, revisited it with the township, but they answered the question and about the amount of time they spent in the agricultural realm as no.
The
So-
majority,
but we did talk about that, and the questionnaire didn't premise being eligible by yes or no. It just asked the question, and there was no.
No, but the century code says that the majority of your time has to be spent farming if you're gonna apply for a farmer.
Yeah.
That's why the question's on the questionnaire. So if the answer is no, then you don't qualify.
And 60% of your income, isn't it?
No, you can't earn.
The beginning farmer deal doesn't hold you to the income, but it still kind of holds you to your activities.
so we erred in approving that.
Well, in my mind, but I'm not. It isn't a lot different than if somebody that works in town would happen to build a house out in the country on a small tract, the intent of the legislature in providing that century code was not to exempt any house in the country.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
again, we just.
I pay taxes on my house in the country,
Yeah.
and I am actively farming. John pays taxes on his house.
Yeah.
But
I could ask you if you pay, but I don't want to know.
I haven't sent in my thing for 2 years, but they haven't taxed me, so
Oh,
go figure.
yeah, I guess we just took it for granted that the local tax, the local assessor okayed it, Emily okayed it, and we didn't have enough information to.
but should we or should we not ask more questions if we have questions? I mean, John, this is one of your irritants with this whole chain of command, is that if you don't get along with the local assessor, if you push it up the food chain, they will always say, well, those guys said it was right, so we're not going to talk. I mean, it is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I don't know that that's the right way to look at it. So if we know that there's a question, shouldn't we really ask it? And of course, this is on he's on the other side of the street on this thing, because they're getting it and not.
Here's a mushy answer. We have to treat
It's not
everybody
like you.
the same. We have to treat everybody the same. So if we're going to question, and although this might be a gray line, probably is a gray line, if we're going to require information in this instance, we have to treat everybody the same. So then we have to treat everybody that applies for a exemption. We need to have them supply all their tax information, and I think the
I don't think that's true, though. I don't think the township understood the statute.
right. So then
That's what I don't think we need to ask them for any more information. We need to ask the township how they interpret the statute, because I don't think it's right. They answered. They told us it was 2.74 acres. They told us they're not actively farming. They don't qualify according to statute, but the township still approved it. Shouldn't we say, hey guys, you want to look at the century code and rethink that thing, or what? That's all I'm saying.
right.
I think you're right. I think you're right in doing that. I mean, if you know something isn't in line with the statute, I think you have a duty to ask questions and figure it out. Just because it was rubber stamped by someone else doesn't mean that you have to.
It's not fair to the taxpayers as a whole if we knowingly do something that they have to pay for.
Right. You just shove the burden on neighbors.
On all of us, the rest of us.
Actually, and everybody in the state of North Dakota, because this is reimbursed by the state.
Well, then rather than call somebody a liar, could we ask them to revisit their application, keeping in mind that they need to.
I mean, it was approved. It's water under the bridge. I just
Yeah.
wanted to have a discussion. Going forward, we need to have a unified approach to how we deal with these things.
Well, and I don't really feel that it's calling someone a liar. They may not have been
Right.
They may not have known everything that they
Correct.
they
That's
needed
what I
to.
mean. It's so.
I think the applicant filled it out truthfully. I think
Yeah.
it was interpreted incorrectly.
Yeah.
That's very well could be the case.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with the application. It's just that it was interpreted. They may have interpreted it, and the township may have interpreted it correctly. The tax
What
director
constitutes a being a farmer?
What is that?
I can't.
54? I looked it up here the other day. I can read it to you.
5403, 5402. I can't remember.
Let's can we put this off?
Yeah,
to the end?
we don't need to talk about it again today. Okay.
And then I'll look it up again.
Okay. Is there any other questions on the bills?
We did pass the rent, we passed to take off the rent, right?
Correct.
Okay, so then I'll move to approve the remaining bills as amended.
Ron has moved to approve the bills as amended, setting aside the Bank of North Dakota request. Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Okay.
Okay. I'll turn it over to Jenny Kraus from KLJ. She's got a final, I think, on the paving project this month.
Sam, was this one or this one?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys just approved this. We do have a final estimate for Mayo Construction Company. That was the contractor that completed the work on the Sutton Road overlay. This is, they were missing a few paperwork items, that was in. So this is the final estimate for that project. That was the 85,000. So that's already been acted on, so nothing really to do there. I'll make sure before I leave, Sam, before I sign this. Get copies. So that's that item. Staying on the Sutton Road project, the next item is a reimbursement request. So we've got the bill for Mayo, and then we have engineering invoices on there. So the total reimbursement request is $83,899.29. This is again requesting reimbursement using those House bill funds from 2 years ago. So this will be the second to last reimbursement request. We'll have a final engineering invoice. We just invoiced this past week. So we'll have one last invoice with whatever time was charged essentially this week. So should have that for your next meeting to completely final that project done. So that's, I guess, the item out there. It's a reimbursement request to go into the DOT to request money back on that job.
Okay. What are your wishes on the House Bill 1358 funding reimbursement?
I make a motion that we submit a request for reimbursement on the House Bill 1358 project on Sutton overlay.
Been moved by Dale to submit the request for reimbursement for the House Bill 1358 reimbursement. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carried.
Okay, the next thing I've got for you guys is the graveling project on County Road 26, east and west of Hannaford. As you guys know, we did that project last fall. Gilbertson on that contract. He will be starting work sometime this spring. I don't know when. I haven't heard from you. I'm not sure if he's back in the game yet, but in anticipation of him coming back, we'll be doing some testing and then also doing pre-job and getting going on construction. So we have a contract for the construction engineering, and that's essentially for us to be out there. We have to have somebody on site to take tickets with the gravel hauling and also to do spread rates for the contractor, make sure we're getting the depth that we need. And then we'll also be doing testing for the DOT's testing requirements as far as frequency and types of tests on gravel. So I have a contract for that. Our construction engineering contracts are always set up as an hourly to a max, so you guys only pay for when we are out there. Here's the original contract.
I've taken a look at the contract and I just want to make sure that you guys are know that it's an hourly contract, and other than that, I think it's a standard contract.
With that too, we also keep all of the records, because this again is a project using your House Bill 1358 monies, and the DOT is in the legislature, as part of that funding require record keeping similar to what we do on a federally paid project. So that's also what has to be done.
Does this contract reference the hourly rates?
Yes.
Whereabouts is that?
7.01.
We set up a maximum dollar amount to put this in the contract. In here we have 45,000.
Yeah, I saw the 45,000.
Oh,
There aren't any specific rates in there, no. Not that I.
No.
oh, okay, no, you're right.
Because it depends on even if I give you an hourly rates for a staff types, they're going to be higher than what an actual person, because we just bill out whoever the actual person is that's out there.
Okay.
So
I couldn't remember. I was thinking at one time you submitted like a staff level person one was so much an hour and staff level person two, but I might be thinking of something else.
yeah, I don't know if we've done that, but
I don't think we've ever gotten one from them. I know we got one from when we were doing the courthouse,
Maybe that was it.
but never one from Jay.
So there was a rate attachment sheet originally in this, but it's been deleted.
yeah, because we don't, like I said, we strike that out because to show our standard hourly rates, they're
28.
they're higher than we'd likely have an engineer tech 1 or 2 out there, and the rate of the actual person is going to be lower than any, like if we have a rate sheet. So
It seemed like it ought to reference an hourly rate, but I know we talked about this before too. And I thought the last time we talked about it, there was going to be hourly rates in there.
Well, and there could be, what Jenny's saying is that they don't know who's going to be out there, but if there was an hourly rate and it specified this person, this person, this person, this wouldn't have to be struck. And we'd know if you have a tech 2 out there, it's $30 an hour. If you have a tech 4 out there, it's $35. If you have a full-fledged engineer, it's $65. And then your interpretation of it will still hold true. that you don't know who's gonna be out there, but we'll know no matter who's out there, here's what we're being charged for.
But you won't even be charged that because we don't, just because it's an engineer tech one out there, you don't get billed for a tech one rate. You get billed at whatever they're actually getting paid. So if we give you a tech one rate, it might be $35, but the guy that's out there, I'm gonna guarantee he's not making $35. So you're gonna get billed at whatever the person out there. So the rate sheet is not.
Is this starting to feel like a guaranteed maximum price contract or what?
Yeah.
I mean, so, I don't want to.
You gotta have a little faith though, I mean,
All right.
it is what it is, there's a maximum in there, if it,
Yeah, we can't go over that without a supplement from you guys. I guess just as a reference, so the Sutton Road overlay project, our construction engineering, we were right around 160,000 was what the max contract was. We had a good contract out there. I think we're just over 100,000 is what we do. That's all you're getting paid for. So there's no push to max out what you need on construction.
But I mean, let's use the extreme. You have somebody that's worth $45,000 an hour, they work 1 hour, and the contract's maxed out. I don't think it's out of line.
But then the job's not done, and we can't ask you for a supplement because you say you didn't complete your original scope of work. So that's.
I don't think it's out of line to ask what you're paying for before you buy it. I mean, I don't think that's out of line, and I certainly you can send out to who you want, but what are the options? Doesn't that make sense? There's nowhere, it could be $300 an hour, or it could be $3 an hour, or somewhere in between. Shouldn't we at least be able to have an idea of what the hourly rate's gonna be? And I know you can't say who's gonna be out there right now, who's gonna be out there in April, but you don't know what the people working for you make.
Well, I know what they, actually, I don't know what they make because I don't approve their salaries, but regardless, I guess in my mind, we set this up, when I figure out a number to put on here,
Yep.
I go through and figure out number of hours that the project is likely to take. I estimate for a construction project, for construction engineering, I estimate production numbers, contractors, so we're estimating the contractor to be out there for a set amount of time. I figure out, okay, for a graveling project, I'm likely to have one person out there. I'm gonna figure, it's probably a tech 2 is what I would figure to be safe as far as estimating a dollar amount.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll also have a person doing testing, so I have to estimate hours for that person. So I go through and estimate. I'm not even looking at dollar amounts. I'm just looking at, okay, I know I'm gonna have this staff type of person out there for so many hours, and that's how I come up with a maximum dollar amount. So
Guaranteed maximum price, that's right, but
contract, hourly
really,
not to
this
exceed.
contract,
yep.
it could come in lower than that. The 45,000 is what they think it's gonna be.
Yep, I understand.
And, the rest of it,
I'm hoping it's much lower,
Mhm.
but some of it depends on the contractor's production.
right.
So that's,
Just asking the question.
I know.
I mean, when it's in the contract and it's crossed out, it means it was in a prior contract and it's not in this one, so what's the difference?
it's a standard, I guess it's just a
Well, this is just a template.
Yeah,
standard
it's just a
JCDC.
boilerplate form, but I don't think it's wrong that you ask those questions.
Yeah, it's like another way to ask it, I guess, is in this paragraph 1 here. You're gonna take the number of hours times the standard hourly rates for each applicable billing class. And really, we were just asking, what is the standard hourly rates for each applicable billing class?
Right.
We don't know what it is, and
Oh, great.
we were simply asking for that.
Yeah, and actually I should strike out, that should be rewritten because it's gonna be the actual,
Right.
the hours times their actual.
What you said was
salary.
different from what. than
Yeah,
what was in
no, I'm
there.
sorry, I didn't even see that was in there.
Well, some people would say strike it out, and some people would say, I didn't have to be a billing class.
Yeah,
Glass half full, empty deal.
I have to note that, 'cause that's not what we're intending on there.
Do we have time for them to sign it next meeting if you wanted to
Well, Ron was just asking the question and it was a good question.
If it has to be approved, we could, I suppose, approve it as amended or as amended.
Ron is thorough. That's good.
That's why we have them around.
Yeah.
What do you think we should do, Jenny?
Well, I mean, one thing that, because what the intent, if we were to look at that 701A, section 1,
Yeah, the contract kind of says two different things right now. So-
yeah, I was gonna say, if we want to, we can look at that first paragraph, and essentially, the way we're actually doing it, we're not using a standard billing class rate, because we're gonna use what the employee is actually making.
Right.
So if we revise that, to say an amount equal to the cumulative hours charged to the project by each strikeout class of, and just say by each engineer, I'll just say by engineers employees. So we strike out the each class of.
By each actual cost of engineers, employees, times.
This is just a
Yeah.
cost plus contract.
By actual cost.
By actual cost of engineers, employees, times, standard hours release.
And then, yeah, take out the, for each applicable billing class, because that really doesn't pertain. So we just say for all services performed on the project.
Yeah.
So if I reread that now, an amount equal to the cumulative hours charged for the project by, and you're saying at actual cost of engineers, employees.
Well, it's not going to be actual cost because there's going to be some adder in there, isn't there? You guys aren't doing this for entertainment.
Yeah, you guys.
Well, she said they just bill us for what they pay them. Sounds entertainment to me.
She didn't mean that though.
Yeah.
She just meant that their billing rates are different depending on how much the employees make. I don't think the.
You were just saying not what I mean.
Well, I'm saying.
So you take the actual rate, and then we don't know if you're adding 15% or 30%.
There was a reason why I was worded why I was.
And miscellaneous expenses, we'll just put that in there, that'll cover. Okay. Yeah, if you want, I can amend that paragraph to something that is more fitting based on, we are actually billing you for based on the person's rate that is on site. So it's not based on a set rate based on a classification. So I can revise that.
It's a cost plus some number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually cost plus a percentage fee, and we know what the percentage fee is. That you come up with all of the costs,
Right.
and then you mark it up 15% or 20% or whatever it is. But we just don't know what that.
It could be lower than that.
Well, it could be 5%, but it's whatever you bill us,
Right.
which is
Right.
different.
I mean, that's when I built my house. It was cost plus 10%. That's just the way it was.
But, yeah, but at least you knew it was 10%. We don't.
So basically, you know that we're billing you for the hours that we're spending on the project, and the total amount we bill you cannot exceed $45,000 unless we come back and ask you for a supplement and can prove that we're outside the scope, which there's a scope attached outside the original scope of services.
So I've just seen it done where the overhead, the markup for overhead and profit is spelled out.
Okay.
I prefer that, but I'm not making a big deal of it here, so.
Again, we're not dealing with a company from New Jersey, but under the terminology of this here, a company from New Jersey would bill us $45,000 an hour, show up 1 hour and say we need more money. And I know that isn't the case here, but we have to have a little bit more.
So I guess the question is to you guys, how would you like, what additional information would you like to added or amended to this contract?
For my purposes, I'd like you to remove that line in number 2 and add the cost of the possible employees out there, and I think it's a very good contract. But that's just me.
So you want to see this, our standard hourly rate sheet? So you
Well,
want to see potentially the max of, if somebody was at the highest end of their classification, that's what would be good.
Well, that, you can still do exactly what you said. You don't have to bill to the maximum hourly rate sheet, but your
Yeah,
maximum hourly rate sheet takes into account profit for the company, insurances, everything else. That's why it is the maximum hourly rate sheet. At least we would have, at least there would be an upper limit to it. And then we could trust you on the downside that you're gonna try and shave costs off that.
Then if you were from New Jersey, we would know that you didn't have anything on the schedule that was $45,000 an hour.
If I did, then my scope would be a hell of a lot shorter.
No,
I wouldn't get much done. I mean, I'm pretty productive in an hour, but I don't think I can take care of an entire project.
but see, then you could still do exactly what you're saying, but we would have a maximum upper limit to it.
It's not really any different than what we requested for construction engineers in the building project, just a schedule of their costs.
Just climb out the one tar pit to form the next one. And that was a kind of strictly contracting companies, and it's not that this would happen, but it just, when you cross it out and then present it to us, it'd be easier if you just didn't have it in your,
We can't just delete anything because it's a standard contract, so that's why. Formula.
Do you have an attachment A?
Yep, it's in there.
Yeah, it's on the contract.
I thought it wasn't. No, I meant the schedule. You don't have a schedule.
Oh, the appendix A, no, because we didn't have included.
I'm just wondering if we can fix this today, or what do we want to do?
Does it need to be signed today, or we can just bring it back next meeting?
I can send it back the next meeting, and if Gilbertson calls in the next, because you won't be meeting until April 3rd, so if he calls in the next 3 weeks, I'll have to tell him just to hang out. Oh, April 2nd.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Easter. Okay.
When's the next meeting?
April 2nd.
We will have another contract too. We'll make sure to make the revisions for we'll have a construction engineering contract for the seal coat project. And I didn't bring that with yet because that's not being good till May, so.
Okay.
But we'll incorporate changes on that one, but.
So you want to see this contract again with that rate schedule attached to it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I mean, that would,
Does that make you happy?
Yeah.
well, we try to reword the whole thing, why don't we just add something they already have? They've got a rate schedule, but yeah, we just add it in there.
Okay.
And then we'll take her at her word that she'll try and cut the cost for us.
Okay.
Yep. Next, she's going to talk about the projects, the upcoming funding, surge funding.
So the surge bill passed.
Are we on any particular page here?
No.
I don't know if I don't think there was anything on the next one, Jamie, if you want one.
Thank you.
Something funded with that.
No, it's just under waiting.
What's that?
I mean, any, we had page 13 through,
No. Just what she's handing out now.
you pick up 75% of the paper in this meeting.
And you want more?
Okay, so what I gave you guys, it's a map showing all of your county roads, and then we tried to highlight some of the ongoing projects. You'll see the, if you guys are, anybody's colorblind, I'll try and find some. You have the two, they're shown as green, sections on County Road 26, east and west of Hanford, that's gravel, you guys are doing under contract already. We've got the piece, the pavement by Hanford, and then up to Cooperstown on 19, and then also the little piece on 2 up north that you're doing the federal aid seal coat project. That one was being bid in May. Now what we're talking about here, you'll see we have 4 optional projects that we are hoping will meet the requirements as outlined by the surge bill funding that was recently passed. Wayne and I, hopefully a commissioner, will be attending. They have a regional meeting next week on Wednesday, 10 to 2 at the Cass County Highway Shop. That's where you can present projects, and then essentially those in attendance at the meeting approve or don't approve your projects to receive funding. That is just saying that they meet the guidelines. There's nothing at that point saying you have to do any of those. They're just approved so that you can make a decision as far as how you want to prioritize them, how you want to move forward with them. So is that clear as far as that part?
Does anybody have to, can somebody go with Wayne on next Wednesday?
It's in West Fargo.
I'm not gonna be able to go.
I think Dale's gonna be gone also.
I got water board in the morning. I can't in the afternoon. After it's scratch water board. If nobody else can make it.
I can explain the 4 projects that, 3 of the projects were ones that we had on the list from the House bill funding, and so we're just carrying those forward. And then Wayne had a 4th project that he wanted to add, so we'll talk through those real quick. And they're just called option 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't think they're really in any priority order, they're just happen to be numbered that way. Option 1 is up on County Road 10, just over a 2-mile piece of gravel you got coming off State Highway 45, goes over into Steele County. The plans for that road, it's currently gravel, and then goes into a paved road in Steele County. So if there was talk about reconstructing that section and paving it, there'd be some widening needed. There'd probably be a little reconstruction work around that curve. You'd look at culverts, you'd have new aggregate base and new pavement. Because that would be considered a major reconstruction type project, they will, because of the funding guidelines, they'll require that that road be posted at 105.5. So that's,
Even if the roads that it intersects with aren't that way.
yeah, makes sense, huh?
Yeah.
Do they require that, or is that just their wish?
It's a
It's a
requirement.
requirement.
Yep. Yep. If you're doing not non-major, so if you're doing a maintenance overlay, then you don't have to meet that. But this would definitely be a reconstruction, so they're gonna make you do that. So that's the first project we looked at. I'll spin through these. If you guys have questions, just stop me. The second project is on the south end of County Road 3. And that's just looking at a graveling project. We look at 3 inches of graveling, repairing if there's any isolated soft spots. A new thing with that though this year, last year we were able to do the graveling on County Road 26, but it didn't require you to post it at 105. Now with the graveling, if you're gonna do a graveling project, it has to be 3 inches, and they consider that a more major reconstruction. So if you do that project, that little stretch is gonna be 105.5, which again, is gonna be, you got down to Sutton is 105, and then you're gonna have a gap on the pavement that's not, and then gravel that is. So I don't know how they expect you to handle that when that wasn't a requirement in the former, but just making you guys aware that that's a new thing on the graveling projects. So.
It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They want life expectancy on highways is supposed to be 15 years. And I was told yesterday or the day before a meeting in Nelson County that because of all the increased weights in the oil field traffic, that Highway 2 out in the western part of the state has got a 6 to 7 year lifespan that they're thinking. So they're putting all this money in roads and increasing the weights, and I don't think it's going to help them at all. We're going to end up putting more money in them again in the future quicker.
I think if they aren't increasing the number of axles, just increasing weights on the axles you got is doing far more damage. But the way they sell it is, well, you're adding more axles to spread the weight out. It supposedly does less damage than the 80,000 is what they'll tell you. So that's your second project. Third project, there's a low area on County Road 8, just on the county line with Foster County, West of Binford there. It's not quite a mile. There's 2 kind of lower spots that go through that slough. It's never qualified as an ER project as far as a grade raise because the water has never actually come up on the road, at least to this point. You do get a lot of wave action when the water's high, and you can tell that these slopes are a little rough. So we're looking at that as possibly doing a small grade raise on there. We'll see if they go for that. And then the last one that Wayne had added was this County Road 15. That's goes up north of State Highway 65 there. That's about 9 miles of maybe a
Macro.
Whatever they call it.
So that's again a graveling project. So same idea there is if you have to do 3 inches of gravel to qualify, and then it kicks it up to a project requiring 105.5.
There's no price differential between, we don't have these, they're not gonna all be the same price, of course.
No. So I can give you some rough numbers.
I imagine option 1 is the highest price thing we have.
Yep. Option number 1, you're looking at our estimate total cost, $1,680,000.
Now, how much money do we have to work with? The surge fund?
Surge fund is $1,817,190.30.
1,800,000.
$1,817,190.30. So option 1 is go ahead.
Surge pays
100%.
100%?
There's no match with this one, so that's nice. Option 1 would be 1.68 million. Option number 2 is 227,500. The grade raise, and this is a very rough estimate, we're just putting $1 million on there. It's going to be very dependent. The DOT has criteria for determining the height of the grade raise. So until you start doing a little more preliminary design, it's really hard to estimate how much dirt's going to have to go in there. Then the option number 4, the other graveling, is $315,000. So total of all 4 projects is just over $3.2 million. Right now, you're looking at with your surge bill, you've got just over $1.8 million. They had one of their regional meetings yesterday for some of the regions out west. That was held in Mandan. And Terry Trainer was there from the Association of Counties, and they were talking a little bit about, there is still one other bill in the legislative session, House Bill 1176, that does still have a line item in it for money for non-oil counties. And that passed the House, and right now it's in Senate appropriations. So in there's roughly over $100 million again for non-oil counties. So there's potential for another chunk of money to come. I'm guessing it would be towards the end of the session, but just an FYI, I don't know anything else about it at this time, but
Is this $1 million, that's specifically for Griggs County?
that's just for Griggs County. And that's not counting the $10,000 per township. That was also part of that surge bill.
Yeah.
So that's separate.
That'll be.
So this
that'll
one
be separate snow.
is just Griggs County.
Is this the money that they want to spend within the year? Or is this a biennium money that they want?
It's still a biennium. You know, it was pushed through as surging and trying to get, you know, a lot of the western counties have projects on the shelf ready to be bid. But it's spread out over the biennium again at this point. So those are the 4 projects.
What
that-
is it? It comes to
3.2.
3
Keeping in mind that the grade rate estimate is just it's very much an estimate, so. But. So those are the 4 projects that Wayne was seeing at this point and wanted to present to you guys before presenting those to the DOT. The DOT is essentially the one again that's in charge of the money. So any thoughts on those 4 projects or other projects you guys have in mind that don't have on the list?
Well, that number 1, would we do traffic counts or something before a guy went and converted a road like that for that much money?
Well, I'm quite sure the reasoning behind that is that's the road to Finley for a lot of farmers that go there with grain.
Right. I was just wondering if that traffic had changed since Hannaford got built.
I'm sure it has, you know.
I can look back. We've got the most recent traffic count the DOT has was from 2013, and the daily traffic was 155. I'll have to look and see if that had a truck count. I don't think that one had a truck count on it since it was a gravel road.
Which are the priority ones that you see, Wayne?
Well, I see all of those, I guess, you know, whichever. And just because we put them on that order, and of course, we're not gonna be able to do all of them, you know. But if we get them approved, then we can choose exactly which one we want.
But it'll carry over for 2 years?
Yeah. It says 2015 to 2017, I think.
Yeah, the approval essentially would last for 2 years, so you can figure out what you want to do for projects, so. And if you have other projects that come up that you want to use the money on, they'll, like they did last time, they'll designate representatives for the regions, and so you can submit other projects in that time frame for approval too. So just because you get these approved doesn't mean you have to do any of them. You get them approved and then decide, no, we have a totally different idea.
Yeah, it just kind of seems like option 3 for $1 million. I'd probably put that as the lowest one myself. But,
It doesn't have a whole lot of commercial traffic on that road.
no, it doesn't seem to ever.
The only thing with that road is that there isn't many roads that go east and west.
Yeah.
No, there
There's
isn't.
only one, it's either that one or go way up north of Norman Dolls, you can go across that gravel road there. You know, if County Road 8 was underwater,
Right,
basically it's Highway 200
yeah.
or way up there that comes out by that tower up in Eddie County.
Yeah, yeah.
20 up there, you know. There isn't a lot of, I think that's probably a little high. I went out and looked at it, you know, and, the one section, the shorter section, I think if we raised it up 4 feet, but she said there may be a limit to what you can do, you know. 5 feet on that, I thought, and then to the west, there's it's like 4/10 of a mile. That we raised that up 4 feet there, 5 feet, and that 2/10 about. Would it probably take care of, because in the middle of it, there's a pretty high spot there. Seen a few
The water
years-
must be down a lot now, isn't it?
It's down some, it's down more on the north side than it is on the south side for some reason, whether that culvert is froze shut there or what, but it did drop down some, you know, towards fall. Because last summer it was, you know, within that far of the top of the blacktop on that one section. Good thing is there was that there's cattails and stuff, so it didn't get a lot of wave action in there, you know, but to the east it was wave action splashing up on the road. See, the state highway, they built that up on McHenry like 8 feet higher than the water. So that's the same body of water.
That was stupid.
Yeah, they could put a culvert in there.
Probably an irrelevant question, but if the money, if the $1.8 million is allocated for Griggs County, who are we asking if we can have the money or not?
It's still, they nominated the,
To approve the projects, if they meet their criteria, I suppose, is still.
Yeah. Yeah, because they outlined the legislators as part of the bill. It's in there as far as the criteria that the money, the types of projects that the money can be used for. And so then they give that authority to the DOT to hold people accountable to basically approve the projects. And then it's the same as with this House bill, you have to submit for reimbursement requests.
So then we should, I mean, the only thing we should do at the meeting then is just go to the meeting and request all 4 of them be approved.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing, because then you can come back and prioritize and figure out what you want to do. And yeah, again, you
I'm
do.
just looking for a way to get all the goals to meeting.
Here's all the information they're going to give you, and then defend your projects when they. If you present them, and they can. There's been several. The guidelines are a lot stricter this round than the last time, so there's been several projects that have been shot down.
like that 105.5, to me, that's ridiculous. We've got, how do you know what steel counties?
Yeah.
Blacktop is there, that's 80,000, ours 105.
But if we just apply for it and they approve them, then we shuffle the money afterwards, it'd probably be something, to me, it appears with our declining population and it looks like declining state revenues, the road system that's costs the least amount of money to maintain is probably going to be the best value. You know, it looks like for the near future, this is probably the last bulk of any without raising taxes immensely. This is probably the last bulk of any money coming from the state. If nothing changes, I mean, and it's going to take another 2 or 3 years of higher oil prices before these monies get built back up again, because they're spending down what they have now.
What did you say? You say something about them not having to be on the market roads? Or was that something I just heard or read?
Yeah,
somewhere.
These have to be farm markets.
Farm market.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is some leeway, I think, with some of your structures. You can have a structure on an off-system road, but it's still got to meet. You know, it's still got to be a through route. It can't be a spur. So it still has to meet the criteria of the bill.
The thing with graveling, of course, it's a lot easier to fix up. You know, if you do go 105.5, you can still put a load limit on it during the spring load limit season. That's soft, you know, and then dries up.
Pavement's
Signs back on.
Pavement's very expensive to maintain over a long period of time. I think we should just apply for all of them and then sort it out after that. That makes sense.
Makes sense.
That'll max out the.
Good part is we don't have to match anything. We
Right.
probably still have to prepay. Or do
No,
they?
you can still request reimbursement up front. So if you, whether it's for engineering, if you have a contract, you can request reimbursement up front, so you're getting paid. Same with, like we did with the graveling project. We submitted the contractor, contract with that, so you got reimbursed for that up front. So you can still do that on everything.
The other reason I'd be in favor of graveling is it keeps, for the most part, it keeps the money more local. And I think that's pretty important. As long as these funds are coming in the community, I think it's pretty important to stay here.
That's why that wasn't paid the first time. You know, it was all set up to do it. But then started thinking about the revenue and stuff going out of the county and city.
That's just my personal philosophy on it.
It still went that way because that was the only terminal really available.
I guess if Motor States Paving was a company based in Cooperstown, I think differently.
Maybe started.
You know, according to the census data, Griggs County has averaged about a negative 40 population over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
So 10 years from now, our population is going to be down another 30%. I don't know that we can expect to have more paved roads for less people.
We can't keep up the ones we got.
You know,
If it wasn't for the surge money, we were going backwards year after year.
right. So maybe John is right. We're just better off trying to take care of what we got.
Well, I mean, we've got high-tech equipment to take care of gravel. We've got but we don't have high-tech equipment to take care of the pavement. Because it's so specialized use and it's so expensive that we can't do it ourselves. So I think the gravel would be a wiser investment.
Yep. And that would most likely make the criteria, request that they're asking. The
Yeah.
105.5.
Yeah, based on, we've had people attending a few meetings now, so we've gotten some good feedback as far as what's getting approved and what's not. And so it would seem that these projects, based on what we're hearing should be approved.
And say they didn't approve a couple of them, then we could resubmit.
Yep, anytime. They'll designate representatives, so you just submit the applications later, or as you go.
What do they do?
Yeah, I think more pavement is sustainable.
If you have a commissioner there, there's more authority.
Unless they know the commission. Well, there, I don't think that constitutes a
Intimidation.
Yeah, maybe that. They don't know their whole work.
1.8 buys lots of loads of gravel.
Yeah. So we just apply for all of them then?
And again, it's not making you do anything on them. They're just approved, and you decide to act on them later.
I think sounds like talking to people, there's quite a bit of traffic goes into that Hanford terminal that comes out of the south.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where they pull the bulk of their,
Yep.
Yep. And there is a lot of,
northern Stutsman County.
surprisingly, there's a lot of traffic on that Mapco Road.
Yeah.
We have a lot of traffic.
That sounds good, then there's an application with some maps, and we've got that stuff all put together already for you guys, so. We'll, talking with Wayne, we had a few little things to add, and we'll get those submitted to the DOT on Monday, and
Do we need a motion on that? Or?
Probably wouldn't hurt to
Alright.
make a motion to bring these forward, these to the engineering district.
And that John attend the meeting, right?
Pardon?
And that John attend the meeting?
That'd be great.
So I make a motion that we designate Wayne to put forward all 4 options presented to the DOT meeting on the,
25 March.
25th of March.
25th of March.
Been moved by John that we submit these 4 projects to the DOT for approval. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Where's that meeting?
Fargo.
Cass County Shop in West Fargo. Right on. Yeah.
10
10
o'clock.
o'clock till 2. That's what I'm getting.
They say what spec gravel that these contracts have to be for this one.
I don't think they usually spec, I would assume that we usually go with the class 13 as the DOT spec for surface graveling, so. I guess that'd be too, if there's something else you wanna use. But it's your best bet for the best material that's gonna stay on the road, so.
Dale. You miss up there or not?
Oh, yeah. I talked to the guy at the winter show about spray foam insulation, because me and Wayne had discussed that the county shop might benefit from having a little insulation on the walls, so we're gonna get an estimate and see what it actually costs. And so we have
Who's that?
it was the guy that did Dennis Sullivan's building on Karnak, interstate insulation. Horrible. Because that's something that really pays you forever once you get it done.
There's no insulation in that building?
Only insulation is up in the ceiling. You know, between there's styrofoam up between the metal that's on the inside and the roof.
It's got a membrane roof.
Yeah. There was rock up there and stuff on top of that, and then I think they remembered the top up because it was leaking a few years ago.
Well, usually the rock is over the membrane.
Yep.
But they put some fastened down membrane up
Redid it
there.
again.
So it's not ballasted anymore.
It might be. I haven't been up there for years.
It wouldn't hurt to get an estimate.
No. No, I was just, there's open cell and closed cell.
Where's this?
Do you have,
Closed cell.
huh?
Closed cell if it's not covered. It's usually-
That's what I was wondering.
I just know Dennis, that's a big building at Karnak. He's got a corn stove, but heats it up for 8 bushels a day. I don't know how many BTUs are in a
How much is that?
8 bushels a day. I don't know how many BTUs are in a bushel of corn.
I think it's not too much different than wood. I think it's about 7,000 BTUs per pound. So that'd be
7,000 times 40 and 20.
240.
280,000 BTUs.
6 times 7. 6 times 7, 42, isn't it?
Well, I just use
Corn's
corn.
50.
Oh.
Corn's 56 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't think Dennis is burning the good stuff though.
For the seed corn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, gets on a big seed.
Oh.
8 to 8,500 BTUs
Yeah,
per
this
pound
is
of dry
cool.
matter.
Huh?
8 to 8,500 BTUs per pound of dry
Okay,
matter.
a little more. Oh, dry matter, but it's not dry.
Well, it's.
It's dry corn. If it's
So
dry corn.
56 times 90%, you're using dry matter. 10% moisture in dry corn. in seed
So
corn.
7,000 probably. That was probably close. And then they're only about 70% efficient, those corn stoves. Because it's open flame.
So that's just something we're gonna take a look at.
Plus then if you're talking to a guy that's burning something or using fuel, you gotta put the factor in there and that's different for every person.
I'm not saying the corn part. I'm saying the insulation. Or do like John did in
What's that?
on that bank, the old bank.
Oh, it's in it? It's gonna get insulated inside of it.
This is the one that's inside.
Well, that's the plan. I think it's done.
I think we could save, burn quite a bit of propane. When you go in there in the wintertime, the blocks just radiate cold air.
I suppose they're filled with vermiculite or whatever they
If there's
call it.
anything in there, it might be.
Think Dennis is.
Because it is, it's all
It's
settled.
sealed off.
I haven't been in.
Tired of BSing?
They painted it, so.
You gotta roll.
Around the city that night, so,
Holy Toledo.
yeah. But, I'll give this a copy then.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Okay,
And
thank
we'll see
you.
you guys April 2nd, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thanks, guys, have a good weekend.
Do.
See you later.
I have one thing for Wayne and you guys before Wayne leaves. I didn't get it on the agenda, but the water board okayed the encroachment policy. They asked that I present it to you guys, so we'll get on the agenda for next week. But they didn't have any changes to it other than adding another signature line. With that said, I was still looking at fields last week with my dad. There's a lot of roads that aren't 4 to 1, just naturally. So I don't know how we're gonna manage this because there's
A lot of those roads were built back in the 50s and they used that elevator.
Well, they were
and
mucked
stuff.
up. I mean,
Anytime you do any work on them, then you're supposed to put them back, put them to the new standard. You start doing anything for the slopes. But you just grab it at the top and if you have to. But yeah, I know there's a lot of people that have been cleaning out ditches too. I see coming through.
For a year.
And working up to the bottom of the slope, so.
okay.
but
I have one thing, remember we talked about that utility permit, did you check it out? Last meeting.
the one for
There was that water line coming in south of something there, and they wanted to cross the road, and did we approve that utility permit? Because I haven't sent it to them yet, so.
I thought it was approved.
I can't remember.
When was it?
I had 2 or 3 meetings in
This is the permit.
What's the date?
No date on it. Let's see. Well, it must have been. First of March must have been the first meeting in
March 6th.
March.
March 6th. I wasn't there.
I was longer.
No, it wasn't March 6th.
It would have been February.
That's quite a while.
Must have been,
February 20th.
Or even before that.
could have been the first source.
February 6th. Then.
Could have been the first part of the first meeting in February also. Let's see. I don't think.
It was February 20th. Motion by Wakefield to pass along the utility permit to state's attorney for him to review, seconded by Dale. Call through time for discussion. All nays, no nays. Motion carried. So, is that part done?
Pardon?
Is that done?
I was passed along to the state attorney, but he hasn't said anything yet.
I reviewed it before the meeting, and I don't think we should have any problem with it. I think we should make them board. You know, is that a policy? Is that
Well, that's what they're gonna do with bore, you know.
okay? Yeah, I don't think that we
They're
should.
gonna bore, you know, there were some costs down there.
Well, it's pavement.
associated with it, you
It's
know.
pavement, isn't it? Yeah, then they're gonna bore.
And it's just a token, $25 for 1 feet. You know, so. But they just wanna have something that says that they're allowed to do it.
Okay.
That's basically what they want.
Yeah, and I don't have any problem with it.
Okay.
Okay. You have to approve that by vote, probably. Utility permit.
Jamie was on, was in with Rover.
He did.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it.
We need a motion to approve the permit then?
Yep.
I'd move to approve the utility permit.
Been moved by Dale to approve the utility permit that was presented to the commission. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And then I was wondering if Jamie could check on what it takes to close the road, like those overhead bridges that we were talking about the other day.
Yeah, it's a statutory provision, and I'm not sure what number it is right now.
You have to have public meetings, I think, or something.
Yeah,
You gotta have a comment period.
Yeah, you have to have public meetings.
But you're not closing the road.
If you take the bridge out, sure.
You're closing the bridge, you're not closing the road, though.
Well, the road is closed once the bridge is out.
Well,
Why?
you're talking two different things. You guys are talking if you're closing the road,
Bridge over
abandoning the right of
Right.
way, or just closing the bridge.
Are you? Yeah, you're not closing the road up to where the bridge is. That would still be open, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but they can't cross the railroad tracks, so.
Aren't they gonna put crossings in?
Not on most spots. There are cuts, in the hills, see, so they can't cross there.
Well, I think all you need to do, I don't think you need to abandon the section line. I think you can just put or abandon the road. I think you just put a road end, sign it.
Bridge closed.
Yeah, I don't think you need to close the road.
Dead end.
Well, it is closed then. If we put a sign up that says it's closed.
You just put a dead end sign up there.
Yeah, the road isn't closed itself, just the bridge isn't open.
You better look that up. If you can't go through.
Well, I think you guys are talking
Right.
two different things. So you're talking closing the road and actually abandoning the roadway, then requires the landowners, and then it becomes just a line between them. There's section lines that are
Right.
closed, and the county they've abandoned the right of way.
Right.
Closing the road, I don't know what the
That's where you have to have a
that is.
public meeting.
Yeah, where it just becomes, the right of way's been abandoned. There's not a lot of examples, but if you drive around the country, there's places where it's just not there anymore.
But I think you'd want the permission of the people that live there, wouldn't you?
Right, if you.
Whether you're gonna abandon the bridge, which means they'll take it out. And,
But you're not abandoning that road at all, you're just abandoning that bridge.
we'll say the railroad track went across the road up to your farm. And there was a bridge there to get there, now all of a sudden we take the bridge out.
Well, I mean, it's been done, the bridge has been taken out and the road left, the Bald Hill Creek is a prime example. The road's still open going down there and the bridge is gone, they just closed the bridge.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's examples probably both ways of.
Yeah, but I think the township had to close the road on the south end, or they abandoned that section, or it used to come down from, stuck at,
Raleigh's, Retzlow's,
Yeah.
going south.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure there's quite a few different ways to do it.
And
But that road's not closed, I just drove down it not so long ago.
No, it's not close.
I know, but they don't maintain it anymore.
No,
Township doesn't.
No, but it's not closed.
and I bet it didn't get abandoned and then revert back to, but I don't know, who knows?
Well, that's why I asked.
I don't think there's anything for closing bridges. I know there's for banning the section lines, but I don't know if there's a.
I mean, that road by me isn't closed, but the bridge is.
Right.
Right, and the road coming from the north to the bridge isn't closed either, but the bridge is. I don't know why it'd be any different.
I think you could. I think it's up to you guys to decide to close it, but I'll do some research. But I don't think. I guess we've closed bridges in Nelson County and I haven't done anything any
Do we
different.
maintain it?
Huh?
Do we maintain it?
You don't maintain it, but it's on our inventory.
Yeah.
The state checks it. State inspectors come around and check all our bridges every so often, 2 years or something like that.
Okay, so who's responsible for the maintenance of it?
BNSF.
Okay, so then, why is it our
But you see,
problem?
they don't want to just take it out of there without the public being approved.
That's a bad deal for them, isn't
Yeah.
it?
They'll just take it out.
No, they won't. That's why they're asking our permission. Let's just say, it's
And
your bridge.
this is what I said. This does not mean we are for or against, but you just want to know the legality of doing it. Doesn't seem we're going to go forward with anything.
I think they should fix it, both of them.
That's what I want you to say.
No, I don't, we can't say they can fix it. We can say they can do whatever they want with it.
The commissioners have a lot of authority, Casey.
We can't force them to fix it.
Well, probably can make them
But
keep it up.
well, but the very fact they're asking our permission tells you something. It tells you that they don't think that they wanna take it out without our permission, why would we, yeah, we don't want it, so I'm not in favor of granting them permission.
All right?
I mean, just me personally, I would say, well, the bridge is there, it's, you put it in, it's your responsibility, you maintain it. That would be
That's
my.
what I want to do, because he's gonna call
Okay.
me back this next week.
Well, that's just my,
Gonna
that's just
say,
my opinion.
what's the feelings of the, because I said I was gonna present to the township officers
Okay.
and the commissioners, and then we see what the feelings were, and if the feelings were just to leave them as they are, then that's what
Well,
they'll do, see.
Is it to a benefit of Griggs County to take it out?
Well, if we take it out, then they will put in cross arms and lights and whatever at some other intersection at that one.
Oh, they'll trade, not at that
They'll
intersection,
trade
they'll
that.
trade that.
Yeah. See, what they wanted to do is close, east of Bob Camel's, there's 2 crossings within
Yeah.
a couple hundred yards. This happens to be 2 roads. So they close one, put lights on the other one, and then they'd make a connecting road over to it.
Over to
So if you guys say, no, we don't want to, then that's what I'll tell them.
Well, I don't know, what is the best, I mean, I'd like to have them put it in writing that if you close those bridges, we'll put crossing arms on the 2 other
Yeah,
ones,
that's what they
because,
have to do. Yeah.
because once they did that, then they admit that the other 2 needs crossing arms, they'd have to put them on there anyway, and leave the bridges open.
Well, you can take their one for that's what's brought up some more red flags or whatever, that maybe some of these crossings aren't. You see?
Well, I mean, is Dennis and, are Campbell's gonna be happy if the bridge is closed? Is Dennis gonna be happy if the bridge is closed?
They didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So I asked
I called
Mr.
Dennis
Johnson,
today.
I said, have you talked to the farmer that lives right down by the track? Oh, no, he wasn't gonna talk to him.
So then he should have known the answer.
Actually, I think this is up to the Public Service Commission.
I think when we abandoned crossings in Broadview Township, I think the state paid us to do it.
There's a section 240910, changing or closing railroad crossing, power of Public Service Commission, and it says hearing. I'm reading it right now.
Because like Neil said, there was, a few years ago, they came through with this big plan, closing the crossings and improving other ones, and so then they paid some townships some money to close these field crossings, basically, you know.
And if you read the century code, if you own the property on both sides of a railroad track, you can make them put a crossing in.
Yeah.
But I think that'd be a long, slow process. I could make them put in a lot.
Well, I can just tell him when he calls that there wasn't really anybody in favor of it.
I mean, I think it'd be different if Griggs County was responsible for the maintenance costs of the bridge, then it would be. I don't see the benefit in it myself, that's just me.
I agree. Because there was quite a few, many years ago, they tried, I think, to get the township to take the responsibility of that
Right.
bridge there by Genesis. But they wouldn't, so.
And Dennis says he has a little problem with the railroad, it's posted for 7 tons per axle, and they drive their 55,000-pound truck across it all the time.
Well, that'd be fun to take a picture of that. Put a game camera up there. So, I don't know if you have to make any decisions.
I don't think we're gonna make a decision until they present us with a request.
Yeah. He was gonna look into other funding and stuff, so it wouldn't, it's not gonna cost us anything, but we'd have to approve, or the township would have to approve closing of this crossing, improve, and then they'd pay for this road and put in lights and whatever. But it's a long process. They're just looking to see, kind of feel out the situation, if there's anything, you know, that's, yeah, let's do it, so. I agree. As long as we don't have to keep it up. If it does fall through, but of course it's posted like that. And we have to put the signs up to post it and stuff. County, even on the township, we have to make sure we have the right, it had to be the right size sign.
I don't think we should ownership of citizens of Griggs County for the benefit of the railroad.
Sounds good.
And even trading the bridge for crossing arms somewhere else, we're still punishing the citizens of Griggs County for the benefit of other citizens of Griggs County. Where do you draw the line? I don't know. Unless Dennis would take it out.
No.
No, you see
I
it.
didn't think so. That's all I have.
Okay,
So you're instructing the guard the bridge so they don't tear that thing down.
Gary, we wouldn't get Gary out there. He had surgery on his foot. He had a big cyst in the bottom of his foot, and they took it out. He's not supposed to be on it for like 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks.
And you keep them a long way away from the bridge.
So he could sit, he could probably sit in the vehicle with his.
Yeah, they're really long way away.
Yeah. Brian had surgery on his sinuses, and he's supposed to be out for a couple weeks.
is that what they talked about him in the last minutes?
Yeah. But they've taken some cultures and different things and trying to still figure out what's causing some of those problems. If it was just this, if there's some other type of infection or bacteria in there or something.
Okay,
We don't want to lose either one of them guys. They're good dogs. All right.
I would like to, if we could, talk about the FAR mill levy while Wayne is here.
Okay.
Is that okay?
shoot.
Okay. So at the last meeting, Troy, I had actually done some research on the FAR mill levy mistake that I went down to 10 mills, and that was my fault. I had accidentally put in a state limit of 10 mils on accident, and I have no idea how I did it. And so I had contacted Linda Ledbetter in Bismarck. She told me to make sure that the election took it up to 20 mils, just so that I know for myself that that's what happened, and then to call the NDIRF, and that I'm covered under an insurance, that if I make a mistake, then they'll cover it or whatever. So me and Wayne did some looking or whatever for the election, and we found that in September 6th, 2011, we did have an election to take the FAR to 20 mils. So we did find that is correct.
Yep.
So I called NDIRF, and they said that they cannot help me because they don't have a claim. I don't have a claim against me. So I asked if Wayne made a claim against me, if they would help. They said no, because the county can't sue the county. So now I'm kind of
Payroll
wondering.
deduction?
What?
Payroll deduction work for you?
Well, I'm wondering what else do you guys think I could do?
It's only it's only 173,000.
Well, luckily she saved herself. Better tell her to run.
Say what?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Ron has covered it. Ron, you kind of saved yourself, I think.
In the levy, you put 10 mils for the regional corrections,
Okay.
and we had voted that was going to be reduced to 0.
Oh.
So we got to do some more looking, but it appears that if that's the only two mistakes, they should cancel each other. Then it would just be to get the 10 mils from the regional corrections over to the road.
I don't know how it happened or anything, but I'm positive we said regional corrections. We budgeted 30,000 for regional corrections, but there wasn't enough carryover that we didn't have to levy any mills.
Because we moved that out. We moved that all into the sheriff's department.
I do remember Mickey coming in and saying something about that. Okay, so regional correction. Oh, wouldn't that be awesome?
But I don't know if that could be moved from, if that was one dedicated revenue account to another dedicated revenue
I
account.
don't know either.
I don't know if that can be moved.
No, it can't be moved, but over the biennium, it can cancel itself out, because next year we won't have to budget anything for regional corrections. and we can budget the additional 10 mils to FARs. So in the overall scheme of things, if you give it 2 years to work itself out, it will work out.
So yeah, so what you're saying is if we don't use any of that money from regional corrections this year, it'll go to the general fund and it can be budgeted
Right.
into
And the
the
county
FAR.
commissioners did vote for 0 mills on the regional corrections, and we voted for 20 mills on the roads, so it's just a typo error.
Oh, I hope it's not, because I hope
No, well, I mean, in the most extreme, we just won't spend, we never intended to spend the money in regional corrections. So
Yeah.
the most extreme, it will take until next year and we'll roll the money over and we can allocate it to the road department, which will be okay anyway because we've got a reserve there anyway. In the least extreme, it was just a typo and we just move it over.
cool. That would be awesome.
No, this can't, don't let this be the rule or inattention saves you.
No.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But here it was a double dose.
Yeah, there was. I spoke with Jack Davidson about this, and there was no fix to it.
Yeah, I screwed up. I better screw up some more to fix it. That's not going to work very often. But you were doing it got thrown in your lap, Samantha, and it wasn't your fault here. This got dumped in your lap without any without any help from anybody. You did surprisingly well for being put in that situation.
Thank you. But hopefully this year, because I've started getting the township stuff back, so then I can get all those done and then send it out and make sure these are right, so then we won't have a lot of these.
So there was quite a few other eyeballs that looked at it, didn't see it either, so.
Right. Well, we didn't get to see it until after that. It was too late anyway.
She was pretty nervous.
Now you can credit Ron for finding out and he found it right away. So.
I thought we should wait a month before we told you.
Wait till the first payroll. Yeah.
I'm thinking Wayne's taking my budget. Oh my gosh.
So you want to check into that, Jamie? I think Ron's right. I think it's a typo because we did budget 0 for corrections. We budgeted 0 or 20 for FAR, and it just got.
Yeah, that's what the motions were.
Yeah.
And we got that on the recording.
Okay.
So it just got budgeted wrong.
I saw that 170, we had a lot of money in that regional correction.
Yeah.
I suppose I could get tough and start sending more people to jail.
We'd run out.
Not for a mistake.
Okay,
Anybody can make it.
thanks, Ron, again, for your detail.
Yep.
Samantha, will you send me an email next week to remind me to do that towards the end of the week
Absolutely.
or the week after? I don't think I'll time to get to it.
Speed reading has some benefits, but not many.
Okay, is that it? Wayne, you done?
That's why you fix it.
Want me to wait around, go out to Huggins, or
Yeah, if you got one.
depends upon how long you guys are gonna be?
Ovens?
Huh? We're getting around to all of them, what that installation looks like after the meeting.
Out to Hogan's?
Jen.
Oh, okay.
Way out there, holy, no.
Ask them how they got it so smooth and if it's an open foam or closed foam. The open foam, they speed it off, they spray it, and they take it, they wipe it off when it's still wet.
This is closed.
And they did that, they got it that accurately.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it if they.
He heats that great big building.
Well, if you can do it for 8 bushels of $3 quarter, that's not so bad.
You don't know what the factor is, huh?
Well, should we take a 10-minute break? Let Samantha go do a victory dance.
I'm so excited.
Do you want to put that in the form of a motion?
I make a motion to take a 10-minute break.
John, move we take a 10-minute recess, or a second to the motion?
Oh, second.
Seconded by Dale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting in recess. Call the meeting back to order. Next thing on the agenda is the raffle. It appears that the Red Willow Bible Camp is having their annual quilt raffle again, and they need our approval for a permit to have that. So
I make a motion to approve raffle permit for the
Red Willow Ministries.
Red Willow Ministries.
Been moved by Dale to approve the permit application for the Red Willow Industries. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Wayne. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Seconded by Ron.
Ron.
Did I say Wayne?
That's not close enough.
Wayne, Steve, Tom.
He also said Red River Industries.
Did I?
Just say Tom.
It's all the same.
He is a cousin of Wayne. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, next is the letter from Emily, which we expected. I understand we haven't had a lot of interest in the position. It's been advertised for, what, 3 weeks?
And then it was advertised for 2 weeks in the paper here, and then it was advertised for a week in the state. Whatever.
Maybe we should try to advertise that position over in Foster County. They had 60 applicants for their 4 open positions. 60 for their 4. They had 4 open positions and they had 60 applicants over there. So maybe it would be already. And I don't remember how many applicants they had for that position, but there were quite a few of them. And Jim Carr said they were really qualified individuals. So maybe it wouldn't hurt to advertise over in Carrington for that job.
Maybe we should have a joint powers agreement with Foster County.
I tried that one. I still think that if someone went over to a meeting and spoke with them about it, what Jim Carr told me after their meeting is that she had a lot of learning to do it, so they didn't think it was feasible. And, well, why isn't she trained in both counties? And I don't think it's a big deal, but Paul Murphy was behind it, and Jim Carr seemed to be behind it. So there's 2 other commissioners that need to be talked into it. So I don't think it would hurt to talk
Paul
to
Murphy
him.
is a
He's a state's attorney. He advised him to do it.
Huh?
He was for it when they asked his opinion.
It's too bad we don't have somebody in-house to do it. It would seem that the burden falls on us and the county commission anyway. But that wouldn't hurt advertising it over there.
You think there'd be anybody in-house that would be interested in doing it, taking on more job duties?
We'll have to investigate that a little bit. But it still wouldn't hurt to advertise it and see, and then do a little investigating and see if.
You want to put it in the Foster County Independent for us? Cool.
Is there anything against having co-directors? Could you have a pair of them?
I don't see why not.
What's that?
Equalization directors.
But what was that?
Co-directors,
Yeah, what's that?
2.
Oh.
Split the duties.
I don't see why you couldn't.
Okay.
I don't think there's any requirement by statute that you have just one person do it. The only thing is they would both have to do the training, I suppose, at the county's expense.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
For advertising in the Foster County paper, do you want that for 1 week, 2 weeks?
Couple.
2?
And then, do we set the fee for the
Townships?
townships?
I think so.
I don't know, but I wouldn't see why you wouldn't.
I mean,
That's what I-
is it statutory?
Yeah, it's statutory that the county does it if the township doesn't, and it has to be based on cost. So you have to divide the cost, what does it cost? What time is the equalization director's time devoted towards assessment, and then that's how you divide that by the salary. You come up with the percentage for the assessment.
Okay.
But we could make that an incentive, I would think, couldn't we? That the equalization director has a set salary and then is able to charge a fee for, or collect the fee for the townships and any other assessing that would be the work of the county, or that would be the responsibility of the county. That's how it was done previously.
I think we can do it whatever makes sense, can't we?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Okay. Crown Appraisals contract. Emily talked about this a little bit yesterday at the Township Officers Association meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Central Plains' 5-year tax abatement is ending.
These are quite a ways off on completion of this, huh? Six months?
Go ahead.
Can we have a motion to approve Emily's resignation letter?
Sorry.
That's okay.
If we don't approve it, she's still quitting, so. I
Alright.
move to, accept Emily Wiggins, resignation letter. And thank you for her service to Griggs County.
Been moved by Dale to accept Emily's letter of resignation. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Did she sign one of this contract or agreement before she hit the road?
Nope, she, that gentleman sent it to me, and so she made me in charge of it, and so then I was supposed to bring it up to you guys for
Cool.
you to sign, and then I sent it back to him.
Okay.
I move that the county commission enters into this contract with county appraisals.
Been moved by John that we approve the Crown Appraisal Agreement. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Oh, we better do a John,
Aye.
Dale,
Alright.
Ron.
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
Good save.
Township equalization meetings.
There is, on page 35, there is 8 townships and 2 cities that do not have an assessor. And Emily told me that it would be, I guess, good if there was somebody there to represent the county at one of these. So she thought maybe each commissioner could take 2. Sorry. I'm not sure where the Binford one is. Betty wasn't here today, so wasn't able to ask her. So I can get that for you as well. But it's those ones that have no by them, obviously.
I can go with the Willow Township one, that's 7. I'm not gonna be able to take 2 there all at the same time.
A lot of them are at 7, so I saw 2.
I'll go to Willow.
Maple is at 10 a.m. Cooperstown is at 1. Hannaford's is on the 14th and not on the 13th, so that's another one too.
Hanford is the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Hannaford and Binford supposed to be listed here? Or did I
They're on
miss-
the bottom.
They're on the
Oh.
bottom.
Oh, okay, you wrote it, okay.
Yep.
And when was the Binford one?
Sure.
Oh, I was gonna volunteer John for it.
Yeah, no, I'll go to the Binford. I'll go to the Binford and the Willow one. That's fine.
Okay.
If you give me the date, the time on it.
Absolutely.
And then okay, it looks like you got a lot of non-participation in your area.
That's because, what's his name? Quit. In that quit assessing.
Oh,
Yeah, Stevenson.
Oh.
Was he the one from Dallas?
And he's moving.
Or Hannaford.
Well, I can make Greenfield.
Hmm.
I'm going to Brownview because I'm I suppose I run over to Mabel. That's
about all you can do then. Those
Yeah.
two.
So you're gonna do which one?
Greenfield and Mabel.
Greenfield has an assessor, so we wouldn't have to do that one.
They got one. It says no.
It says no.
In which one? Oh, Greenfield. Sorry, I thought I was looking at Clearfield.
Oh.
Sorry. Geo.
Yeah, I'll do Binford and Willow. And that's all. There's some around
Greenfield
7
and
o'clock.
Maple. Geo.
7. Cooperstown at 1.
Yeah, I can do Cooperstown and
Okay.
just about any other one, I guess. But,
Well, you can go to Rosendahl. That's right up in Dahl territory.
yes, I can do that.
Those are
There's
those
no
ones.
names on the board there.
Yeah.
So, sure, I could do Rosendahl and Cooper.
Okay, so we have Hannaford, Helena, Dover, and
Norman can wrestle about taxes.
Yeah. Get his opinion on everything.
So one of these won't work
For who?
for somebody.
For Dale maybe? Because I think mine are 1-7. So.
Well, because now the ones that are left are Bryan, Dover, Helena, and Hannaford, and 3 of them are at 7. So one.
But Ron was gonna, no, Ron can't do that.
I was doing it to Cooper and Rosenthal.
You were doing Cooper and Rosendahl, yeah?
He can do that.
Yeah, you can do that. And we don't know what time Binford's at, but it's in the Binford Senior Citizen Center, so I'm sure I can do both them, Binford and Willow. Even if they happen to get 7, I go back and forth.
So Troy, now it's up to you, and then Sean just gets the.
Well, if I go to Hannaford, and where's Bryan again? Oh, that's good.
Right west of Binford.
West of Binford.
Mm-hmm. Helena is close to Hannaford.
Oh, and Allen.
Yeah. Dover is down.
I can go to Helena.
Dover's down towards Bloomington.
Okay, so now
But that leaves Sean with,
Bryan and Dover for 7 o'clock.
That's a long.
he can't get her done. I guess you're gonna have to take one.
Okay.
Yeah, Bryan.
Am I over there? Where's Bryan at?
Well, Carol Rickford. It's her house. It's just.
I'll go to that one.
You know that one?
Well, I was kind of teasing her, but if she'll do that, she can go to the Helena Helena. If she does Hannaford, that isn't going to help us.
No.
We'll still be balled up.
So I do Helena.
You know where Helena lives?
No.
Do I?
Southwest of town.
Is that over by past Hannaford? Over by.
It's kind of in Painter land. There's Helena Township. But where does Alan live? Does he doesn't live on Chuck's place.
No, but it's right in that area.
It's how do I explain it? Fly right to it.
Just fly me there. We're good.
Right? Yeah.
I've driven by it a bunch of times. I couldn't take you there unless I had a 12-pack.
It's well, you can find. We'll find it for you.
Okay. And then
So you're taking Helena?
I'll take Helena.
Then I'll go to Bryan. That's Jesse.
And then Sean has Dover.
Well, yeah.
Bryan is.
Well, that's past my bedtime.
Troy, where are you going, Troy? Bryan?
Bryan and Binford. No, Hannaford.
We don't know what time Hannaford is, but
Hannaford's at
7 p.m.
At this
how do you do
time.
both Bryan and Hannaford?
One of them's the 14th and one of them's the 13th.
Oh, is Binford the 14th too?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure on that one. They didn't have a time yesterday, and they were going to get back to Betty, and Betty wasn't here today.
Well, I mean, yeah. Okay. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Well, we can all talk about this too. I can get times, and
Yeah,
we can
we
talk
got
about that
it,
the next meeting too.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Okay.
Okay.
NDSU letter.
No, that was involved. I didn't quite understand it.
Oh, I got this email.
I got it in the mail, so I just got it to you. And then this stuff was attached.
Yeah. That's the Asphalt Institute.
And then this
I don't want to know that much about asphalt.
Where is that?
the Ram Quota in
Bismarck.
Rapid City.
Oh,
On the asphalt conferences in Bismarck.
it's at the Ramada Inn in Bismarck.
So
That's a long ways.
And that
the
that
road
other one that
conference.
Rain is going to is in Rapid City.
No.
Okay. Dental insurance, what's that?
I brought this up last time. So I would like to get Adam put onto my dental insurance, but we're not married yet. And so I asked Zeb how to get him on my insurance, and he said that we would just have to do this form that's in your packet to allow domestic partnership. And Jamie was supposed to look into it, so I passed some emails along between him and I, and then we just decided that to bring the form up to you guys.
John had looked this up and I looked it up too again, and North Dakota doesn't recognize domestic partners, so I think we have a problem there.
What is it?
Domestic partner. It's a couple that's not married, but they share pretty much everything else but marriage. And there's states that recognize domestic partnerships, but not North Dakota. Either married or not married in North Dakota. They're not. There's nothing. There's not a domestic partnership in North Dakota. There's other states that you can claim domestic partnership and receive the same benefits as a married couple.
Do the commissioners even have to make this decision? You're just gonna fill this out and check it, right?
If it's okay with you guys, if I switch that.
Well, I don't think we can stop you, but
Well,
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if you guys say no.
it's a change in the benefits, isn't it?
Changing the policy, yeah.
but it doesn't cost the county anything.
No,
Because you pay for it
correct,
completely. Either you're gonna pay for yourself or yourself and your spouse.
correct.
It's your decision. It doesn't hardly affect the county.
The county doesn't provide dental insurance.
No.
No, but I think it's something that you guys want to look. I still think that she needs a blessing of the commission to ask that, because it's going to change. It's going to change the way the benefits are looked at for every other employee as well. I mean, if the next person comes in, it's just something. I think it's more of a bookkeeping
We
task
don't
for
provide
everybody.
dental insurance.
It's a supplemental.
It's a supplemental insurance that the county does the the withholding from the checks.
I would think you can check yes and you're paying for it. It's your.
That's kind of what I think too. Just check yes and do it. I don't think you need to decide. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I don't get why we have anything to do with it. If it's not a county provided,
I was under the assumption it was county provided. If it doesn't affect the county's insurance, I don't think it, I don't know.
it's a supplement to what?
It's just somebody else. Like Zeb just comes in and
It's just a group. It's just a group plan that county employees are able to buy into or pay for and use. But it's not something that's provided by the county.
Okay. Then I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah, then just check the box.
Okay. New courthouse, old courthouse. You're having a hell of a good meeting today.
yes, we are.
Not condoning living in sin, though.
Yeah.
I went upstairs and I actually did have an answer.
Plus, you had a problem and you perceived it as our problem, and you were trying to transfer your problem to our problem. No, I tell people at the bank, customers come in and they try to make their problems my problems, and I ask them not to do that.
Problem solver.
It appears like that's what happened. She kind of proved that theory wrong, Troy, because we did solve the problem.
She did.
Yeah.
We just told her she did. New courthouse, old courthouse. Suppose we better revisit that bond payment. What's that? With the
Yeah.
oil and gang thing.
Oh,
Oh.
not that.
Oh, LaDonna is she's the bookkeeper at the Bank of North Dakota.
Yeah, online game.
Yeah.
I have the lease in front of me. I guess my concern with paying that lease is that we're not really getting anything for our money, and I think the stewards of the county's money, I think that we need to, or you guys need to decide what you want to do. We've been paying that lease to the Bank of North Dakota, and we haven't gotten a building. We've gotten. I suppose we've been leasing this facility, but we haven't gotten everything that we've been paying for in the agreement. Section 3.2 of Article 3 of the lease states that in consideration of the rent and other terms and conditions herein specified, the authority does hereby let and lease the facility to the county, and the county does hereby let and lease the facility from the authority for the term of this lease as stated in Section 3.1. The date of its execution, I think, was May 18th, 2013. If you go back to the definitions portion of the lease, facility is defined as the site, all real property interest pertinent thereto, all improvements thereon, including the project, and all fixtures now or hereafter located thereon. Now, if you define the project, means the construction and equipping of a new courthouse building, other site improvements and related facilities to be financed in part with the proceeds of the bonds. So we may be getting part of it because we're getting the courthouse building, but we're not getting everything that we are paying for here in this lease. And I think it's kind of a crucial part of the lease that we're not getting that building.
Would you recommend writing a letter to the Bank of North Dakota explaining our position, or just let it slide?
I think we should write a letter to the Bank of North Dakota and explain our position. I can do that. But we have some time. I guess this lease payment isn't due until next month, is it?
I think so, yeah. April 25th or something.
We have some time to write a letter and get a response back if I have something prepared by the next meeting time.
Well, who do we write the letter to? It's
Well, I think it's the lease is with the building authority.
that's correct.
I think it needs to go to both the building authority and the trustee. Which
See,
is the Bank of North Dakota.
the trust agreement is very specific that the payment, the bond payments, are the responsibility of the building authority. And it says, I don't remember the exact language wrong, but it says that the county is not a party to this agreement, and in defining the trust agreement. So was, and it's very specific that says that the monies paid are not a levy against the citizens of Griggs County. They are merely a rent payment.
Right.
So it's a stretch for this lease agreement to try to tie Griggs County
To the bond repayment.
to the bond repayment.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should acknowledge that was done correctly. They can't. I mean, the reason that the trust agreement says they didn't do it, and specifically says they didn't do it, is because it's not legal to do it. Because if you could do that, what would be the purpose of putting the vote to the citizens? It wouldn't make any sense.
Well, I think.
But we need to notify them that we intend to not pay the building authority because we haven't received.
I think what we need to do is write a letter. The letter needs to go to the building authority, but I think it needs to be CC'd to the Bank of North Dakota.
I think so.
So they're aware of what's going on, but I think the contract, the lease agreement, is between the county and the building authority. The lease specifically says in the contract says specifically in the definitions, the lease means this lease agreement between the authority and the county is amended or supplemented.
Right. And the other, unless we don't have the full, unless we don't have a full copy of this thing, 7.6 says this lease contains all agreements between the parties relative to the facility and the site, and there are no other representations, warranties, promises, agreements, or understandings, oral, written, or inferred between the parties relative to the facility and the site unless reference is made to them in this lease. And
Well, there is no reference to them, so.
and there's no amendments. I'm not a lawyer. All I know is that if I had a building and Ron was paying rent on it and I hadn't finished the building, he couldn't use it, Ron would quit paying rent.
Oh, absolutely. If you weren't given the complete enjoyment of what you're paying rent on, you're foolish for paying rent on it, I think.
And it states that this lease agreement falls under all the applicable laws and statutes of the state of North Dakota.
And then the agreement is between Griggs County and the building authority. No one from the Bank of North Dakota has done anything. It's between those two parties, according to the lease that we have. So I think that the notice should go to the building authority, and from there, CC a copy to the trust department to the Bank of North Dakota, and they know what's going on. And I guess if see what happens from there.
To what end?
Well, to the completion of the facility without costing the taxpayers of Griggs County any more money, and whether
Can happen.
yeah, it will happen. Either the Bank of North Dakota will step in and do it because they were the one that guaranteed the bondholders that their equity was secure here when it isn't, because it's not secure because they didn't make sure the lease agreement tied the building authority into finishing it. Possibly the people that wrote the bond themselves, because they didn't foresee the eventuality of what happened here, or possibly the members of the building authority. Griggs County is going to be held to the very definition of that lease agreement by everybody involved. Why don't we do the same for the citizens? We can't, again, they'll hold us to every last sentence in that lease agreement. We have to do the same. There was great fun made about, there was a statement made a while ago that one of us said we were going to hold the building authority responsible for everything in the lease agreement, and there was a lot of fun made of that. That's the truth. That needs to be what happened, because they're going to do the same to us, and they have done the same to the citizens of Griggs County. They have taken every loophole and every advantage of the agreements they signed, and for us to do any different is not what I was elected to do.
What I was referencing is if there's like an additional cost addendum in there, or a paragraph or part of the agreement, right? So if there are additional monies expended on this, do they then have the ability to change the lease payments?
Not the way I read it.
Okay.
But the additional monies were associated with circumstances of default, circumstances of neglect. None of that makes any difference if the original intent of the lease isn't fulfilled. The lease means nothing unless the original intent was fulfilled, that they provide us a building for a fee paid. So they can write anything they want, and we'll have to go with it. But unless they fulfill their side of the lease is null and void.
Okay.
That's my opinion on it.
Is there any time? They're really not held to any time frame in that thing, are they?
Well,
No, they really aren't to provide the building.
no, but they aren't, and that's to the detriment of the lease itself. Any contract is null and void if it's so one-sided that it is not beneficial to both parties.
Well, and I should, sorry to interrupt you. I should say that there is, because the lease was executed the day it was signed on April 23rd, 2013. It states someplace that
Right, it's started.
so it was, I think it's in section 3.1 where it was executed the day it was signed. So it actually was executed. And the time, I think the timeline started April 23rd, 2013.
No, you don't know. I didn't explain this one.
So what-
When are they supposed to provide us with the facility? That's what.
No, that's what I'm
what's
saying.
open-ended.
We started paying rent on April 23rd. This term of the lease started April 23rd, 2013, and as part of this contract, that building was supposed to be provided. So if you read the literal meaning of this contract, that building should have already been up and provided for the county by April 23rd, 2013.
And I can't speak for, I think the reason for that is because the intent of the law and these contracts originally were never intended to build a building. There was a building sitting there and someone wanted to lease it.
Absolutely.
So that's why it was never.
I know what the original intent of this
Yeah.
provision was.
Yeah. And so being that they haven't been in compliance with the lease up to this point,
Okay.
I think they're responsible for all the costs associated with the building up until they provide us with a product that is what we signed the lease for. So that would be the insurance costs, the heating, everything else. I think they're responsible for.
Okay.
The fact that we have a lease agreement that was entered into with no distance between the two parties. This wasn't an arm's length transaction.
I know that.
So no one was defending the county on this. It all goes back to the basic contract language of any contract. If it's one-sidedly, if it's obviously one-sided in favor of one party rather than the other, it's not a valid contract. And we didn't have any representation here. There was an objective, and the objective was to build this facility knowing that was not the intent of the citizens of Griggs County. So how can the citizens of Griggs County be served by building that facility when it was known that wasn't their intent?
Okay.
Unless Jamie's got another. Otherwise, what do we do?
Well, I just want everybody to be on the same
I
page.
know you're.
And I'm in a complete agreement with you, John. I'm going to take some time in the next week and have a fresh set of eyes take a look at this and see if there is any other opinions. But I don't think that, as much as I thought about this and looked at this, I just don't think that there is any other opinion that anyone could glean from this.
If this was the correct thing to do, then what would stop anybody from forming a building authority, underfunding the project, starting the project, and then holding the municipality to the completion of the project? You could fund a project. You could fund virtually any project with public funds without the permission of the citizens,
Right.
or against the wishes of the citizens. And the Bank of North Dakota is liable for this. They allowed this. They allowed the bondholders' equity position to be jeopardized by not scrutinizing the lease agreement. The bond attorney wrote the lease agreement without realizing what consequences could happen and not accounting for those consequences in the lease agreement. So there's more than one party liable here.
Yeah. One thing I was going to mention, just on Troy's question, is the indenture, and we're not signatory to the indenture at all, but the indenture says untruthfully, it lies, really, and it says that the county has covenanted in the lease agreement that it will make up the additional payments to finish the cost of the courthouse. That's not in the lease agreement. The indenture says that it's in the lease agreement, but it's not. So research that good.
That's correct. The county stated in the indenture that the building authority stated in the indenture, and I can get the exact words here for you, that any deficit in funding would be made up by the county.
Per the lease agreement.
And
And it's not in the lease
It's
agreement.
not.
Absolutely not.
No.
so, yes, the building authority was negligent, was negligent for putting that in there, but so was the Bank of North Dakota for then representing to the bondholders that they had an equity position when they actually didn't. Or that their equity position could have been jeopardized. Let's see, what is it,
Okay, well, what are your wishes? Would you like Jamie to draft a letter? And
No, I like it. What do you think, Dave? I mean,
We're not getting anything for our lease, and if we don't pay for it ourselves, which we can't do, we'll never occupy the building.
that was my question. Could we finish this if we wanted to legally? You know, if that was why I asked the question originally. If there's a provision in here where the Bank of North Dakota say this thing goes into foreclosure and they take possession of it, complete the project, expend the resources necessary to do so, and then bill it back through the lease agreement to the county. If that's how this thing is going to play out, then if it's possible for the county just to finish it and move on, I think we should do that because it would be less costly. We wouldn't have any legal people involved, which I don't like anyway. We'd be in there faster. The people of Griggs County kind of wish it would just get done now. At least that's the feeling I get. I mean, I haven't hired anybody to do any extensive survey work, but
we haven't had the benefit of 3 elections to tell us that yet.
I understand.
Yeah. But no, what you just raised is what the lease agreement says will happen if we default. But the lease
But we
agreement-
didn't default.
That's right. I'm not a lawyer. But
Somebody needs to advise us because I'm not willing to cut off my nose to spite my face.
again, I think it's just, if it's legal to tie us to that obligation,
Sure.
then anything is legal. I mean, give us the product that you said we get to have because we're giving you the price. If we can't have a product, we're not giving you the money.
No, I agree. Yep. I just want to make sure there's not some.
But that's going to be what happens. Is somebody is going to come after us and try to enforce the lease agreement, and we're going to have to say no, the lease agreement is not valid. They're going to try and enforce those statutes in the lease agreement.
Why isn't it valid?
Because
Well, I would say even if it is found to be valid, that it's already been breached by not providing us a
well,
facility.
that's what I'm talking, valid or breached or whatever you want.
What you're going to say is what has happened here does not fit the criteria laid out in the extra cost provision of the lease agreement. The extra cost provision in the lease agreement is something that happens after the fact.
By default by the county.
Yeah, right. The building authority performs, we have a finished product, we do something that causes a cost incurrence,
Right.
then we're responsible for it. But just because they have a shortfall in the construction doesn't mean that's on the counties. That's again, that's making their problem our problem.
And we have an opinion to that point by the Bank of North Dakota. Remember, the building authority turned this over as a default to the Bank of North Dakota, and the Bank of North Dakota wrote back a letter that the county was not in default. But now we will be in the default
We won't be. The building authority will be in default.
on the bond.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the recourse will be the Bank of North Dakota will look at it and they'll say, well, do we defend the building authority here and go after the county? Is the building authority correct? Or do we go after the building authority only? Or do we just eat this and put this to bed for X amount of dollars because this was our fault and it makes us one time, shame on you, twice, shame on me.
Well, I don't know. I don't see where the Bank of North Dakota has any recourse against the county. There's no. The county and the Bank of North, the county and the building authority are the only two parties to the lease agreement.
Trust agreement. Indenture trust.
The Bank of North Dakota and the building authority.
Building authority. And then,
Indenture trust. You said
Yeah.
lease agreement. We've signed the lease agreement with the building
right,
authority.
right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, but the building authority used the lease agreement as equity against the bond.
Right.
And they didn't use they couldn't use the actual mill levy or the levy. They used the rent payments.
Right. They could. I don't believe they could tie that mill levy specifically to that bond because that would have been.
Well, that would have
contrary
been
to the statute.
a tremendous sham transaction. if
Well, and they
had
say
done
that right in the trust agreement that this is not a levy against the citizens of Griggs.
Right.
That's a specific language.
They
This is
can't because
in lieu of rent.
Because the statute requires that's for leasing or
Leasing, right.
leasing of police
It's
and
not for purchasing, it's for
courtroom
leasing.
and jail facilities.
So again, if someone's going to challenge it, they're going to challenge it in the fact that we're in violation of the lease agreement, but we can't be in violation of the lease agreement when we haven't been provided the facility.
I don't know. Is there I don't have the indenture trust with me right now. Is there an assignment of the lease payment to the trustee?
I think there is. Well, in the indenture, I think there is, but I'm not positive.
No, there can't be.
I thought.
Well, I mean,
It
without-
spells out someplace that we make payments directly to the Bank of North Dakota.
That's in the lease agreement.
That is in the lease agreement.
But we're not a party to the indenture. We can't. The only thing that binds that lease agreement, that binds the payment to the building authority is the lease agreement. So we're not a party to
But
the indenture, so they can assign it. But that doesn't obligate us
Yeah.
to
Right.
make the payment unless the lease agreement is valid.
Yeah, I think
No,
they may have-
assignment to rents only obligates the
Yeah.
person collecting the rent.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't obligate the person paying the rent.
Yeah,
Right.
And I think it may have been, yeah, exactly, it might have been assigned, but it doesn't mean that.
That just means that
Right.
just what Troy said. It obligates the person collecting the rent. The building authority.
It still obligates the person that's financed the project.
The building authority has said that we guarantee that when we collect the rent payment, we'll give it to the Bank of North Dakota.
Right.
It's not guaranteeing that the county says we're gonna pay it. That's the lease agreement that says they're gonna pay it.
You know, I think if we don't make that payment, their only recourse is for the building authority to sue us, or for the Bank of North Dakota to sue the building authority and then them sue us.
That's why they're trying to get us on the building authority. Okay. What are your wishes? Do you want Jamie to draft something up?
I believe so.
Do we want to include the statement now that we think we're owed expenses up until this point, or until the point of occupancy?
I think we can.
So you're evaluating additional damage claims from your lack of performance or something?
Well,
Let's just try and get into it for now, and all those can be ironed out later.
yeah, because it spells out someplace that the county was responsible for the.
It's a net.
It's a net some lease, but we're not given the building yet. We don't have the enjoyment of that building, even
No.
though we're paying
But-
for everything.
With the net sum lease, we should have walked into that building on the 13th of April of 2013.
That's what he's saying. That the net sum lease can't be until you have enjoyment of the building. And in one of the letters from the building authority at one time, their attorney referred to the point of occupancy, and he said it would be sometime in the future. He didn't disagree that at some time there had to be occupancy in order to fulfill this contract.
But at what time? I mean, as stewards of the county's money, at some point you have to quit paying for something that you're not receiving, and that's what everybody went through.
Yeah, May 1st.
Of 13.
Yeah, this lease agreement is made and entered into May 1st, 2013.
And even if the occupancy is within a reasonable time, is 2 years a reasonable time?
Whereas the county desires that the authority acquire and construct a facility as defined, hereby defined, and the facility is defined as all property on Block 3, pursuant to the ground lease, and lease the same to the county, and the authority is willing to acquire and construct the facility and lease the same to the county, and the authority, by its bond resolution adopted April 2nd, 2013, did determine, subject to conditions set forth herein, to issue its revenue bonds to finance the construction and equipping of the facility for the county, and to pay the cost of issuance in connection with the issuance of sale and bonds and the acquisition and construction of the facility by the authority for the use by and lease to the county as a county courthouse facility as necessary in order for the county to carry out necessary governmental functions and enterprises and to provide necessary services to the citizens of the county. And whereas the execution and delivery of this lease has been in all respects duly and validly authorized and approved by the authority and by the county, now herewithfor in consideration of the premises and the covenants and undertakings hereby expressed, the parties hereby agree as follows. And that's the last one, in consideration of the premises. We don't have the premises.
Okay.
We have part of it. We have this building. This building is on that lease, but we don't have the building that we're supposed to have.
And again, unless we don't have the most current lease agreement. And
Well, I
there's
bet you some lawyer's gonna provide that if we send them a letter saying that they're in default.
Yeah. Because if there is an amendment to it, it should have been stated in the lease agreement, it should have been attached that obligating Griggs County to payment, finishing the facility. But if Griggs County isn't obligated to any money under this because it couldn't be. No way to obligate them when the citizens hadn't authorized it and the facility was going to run over 2 different financial years. You can only spend what you have in any one financial year that's excess in the general budget. There's a reason they did all this stuff, and why it looks so goofy is because it had to be that way, because no bond attorney or attorney was going to write it up or get himself in trouble, but they might have done that.
Okay.
So did we decide if we want to put in for the additional, or just
Might as well. I mean, all I can.
I think I'll just put in there as additional damages. Just add some language like that.
Add something.
Not a specific accounting, but it's just additional damages.
Are we under obligation to notify the Bank of North Dakota?
Always better.
Well, I don't think we are, but I think we can CC them on the letter.
Okay.
We're not a party to the
They're
indenture
invoicing
trust.
us. We better tell them why they're not getting their money.
Okay.
Right? They invoiced us. They didn't invoice the building authority.
Well, it's not the Quas Building Authority.
This what?
Smappaquas Building Authority.
Oh,
So maybe your response.
Maybe you will get your paycheck.
Well, I looked at it too and I was like, I don't know where this is supposed to go.
Where did it come from? Was it from the Bank of North Dakota, or was it forwarded from the building authority?
BND.
Okay.
In accordance with Article 3, Section 3.3 of the lease agreement dated May 1, 2013, notice is hereby given of the rental payment stated below. So look that up, would you?
3.3, what was it? 3.38?
Article 3, 3.3.
During the term of this lease and subject to any credits referred to in section 3.8 thereof, the county agrees to pay and shall pay as basic rent for the use of the facility on or before the date, which is 5 business days prior to each interest payment date and principal payment date. The county shall pay in immediately available funds an amount equal to the amount payable as interest on the bonds on such interest payment date, plus an amount which is equal to the amount payable as principal of the bonds due on such respective principal payment date, and the amount which is equal to the principal, if any, which shall be payable by call for redemption or acceleration of maturity pursuant to an indenture and premium, if any, due on the bonds on such date. And in the event of the county shall have made any payments of basic rent with respect to the principal payment date or interest payment date, but the funds on deposits in the bond funds are nevertheless insufficient to pay such principal premium, if any, and interest on the bonds then due or to become due on such payment date, the county will forthwith pay as basic rent the amount which is the amount of the deficiency.
And then 3.4 says the basic rent provided for in section 3.3 shall be paid directly to the trustee at its office for the account of the authority for deposit in the bond fund as provided in the indenture. The county shall furnish to the authority at its office, if the authority so requests, advice of the transmittal of basic rent to the trustee at the time of transmittal.
Okay.
So how are we going to make sure that the letter gets to the building to the building authority? Their address is here, and we've sent them a letter with no response. We must just have to assume that they're either ignoring it or they didn't get it.
I think we could have the sheriff serve it on Von Halverson and probably have the attorney of record, even though I don't like it, is still Lee Grossman. Have it served on him as well, and send the certified letter to the Bank of North Dakota.
The letter that was sent to them just came to the courthouse?
This bill?
Hmm?
This one?
No, the demand letter that we sent.
For the 290,000.
Yep, that came to me.
And then that's where it stopped?
I gave it Connie.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't follow the chain of,
Right, it needs to go to the president and the chairman, I think.
yeah, it doesn't follow the chain of,
So I think we should. Ron Halverson's still the chairman. We can have it served on him. I think that would be the proper way. If we were to serve a suit, that would be the proper way to serve a suit. Would be to the chairman of the building authority. So I think that would be the proper way to serve this. Be to him and his attorney, or him and their attorney, I should say.
yeah. When do we want to see the letter? On the second?
Soon enough. Should be.
Well, if the rent payment is due on the 25th, so I guess we have until the 20th. So we should be able to get a reply by then if it gets served on them right away.
Is it, you know,
Or I guess if you guys want to call a special meeting one day next week, we can do it.
Well, we can do that.
Well, how about Jamie wrote the letter and just shared it with Troy, back and forth till we get it where it needs to be? And then we could call a special meeting.
Okay. Somebody missed dinner.
No, he ain't in there, watch it.
Okay.
Old courthouse, new courthouse. I talked to.
We need a,
Do I need a motion to have Jamie read the letter?
Oh. I would move that Jamie
draft.
draft a letter to the building authority, copy to Bank of North Dakota, expressing our concerns concerning the lease agreement or payment of the lease agreement without having access to the building, without having enjoyment of the building.
Okay, it's been moved by John that Jamie draft a letter to the building authority and the Bank of North Dakota expressing our concerns about the new courthouse project. Is there a second?
I'd second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion?
Is it our intention to know that we're going to discontinue lease payments?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I.
Based upon the fact that we don't have enjoyment of the building.
And I suppose it could be worded to the point that either on and before that date or in consideration of future services provided. I mean, if they give us a date, okay, we'll be finished by May 3rd or July 2nd, that we'll, we would consider that. I'm not saying we'll go ahead with it, but
Right.
the other thing that should we take this money and set up a trust account at the Bank of North Dakota that Griggs County has access to?
Should we vote on that motion first? Before we get into another, because that's not part of this motion, is it? It's been made and seconded.
Yeah,
I think, so.
okay. Oh, it was made and seconded, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. No.
Would it be prudent to set up a trust account at the Bank of North Dakota that is just accessed by the Bank of North Dakota and Griggs County and deposit that money into that account so that there's no doubt that the money was there, and then tie that to the completion of the project?
Well, I don't know if we need to tie it to the completion of the project, other than if we have enjoyment of the building and an answer to our satisfaction.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if the money is put into an account there and we don't have use of it,
Right. Well, I understand.
it's
what
an
you're
act of
saying.
good faith, and that always, if it comes down to motivation behind this, that always dispels any of the motivation. It wasn't because we were trying to use the money for something else or
No,
gain.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I don't think we needed it. I mean, let's just see what happens. See what response we get from this letter. If they have a plan, they're going to be done by the 15th of May. Maybe we make the lease payment. You know, and I don't think having a trust account as opposed to having it in the local bank makes a lot of difference.
Having a trust account probably doesn't hurt, but I guess as long as we're able to show that we have that money available to spend too, I don't think that.
Okay, so we do have it in. It is shown in the account then, and the balance as of today in that.
146,000 in there right now, right?
I do believe so.
Okay.
Because I don't know what it says in the indenture of trust about, there might be a provision in there that, like there is in our loan agreements, that there might be a right of offset or something.
That was one of my concerns with starting an account with a North Dakota is that they might have that access to offset and take the money from that account without any permission.
We're not a party.
But we're not a party then. I agree, I understand that. We're not a party to that share trust, but I haven't looked at that to make sure.
No, we're not a party to it. And it says it 2 or 3 times in there, doesn't it, Ron? In the indenture of trust that Griggs County is not a party. I mean, they're very specific about it.
Yeah, there was something about an offset, but you're right, we're not signatory to
Yeah.
it, but the offset language was in.
Okay,
But if you don't think that's necessary, it probably is.
I don't.
Okay.
I think as long as we can show that we have the money sitting there ready and willing and able to pay it, I don't think that setting up a trust account it's probably more work than it's worth. I guess if we can show that we've got that money in that account and that we can
I
pay
mean,
it.
you can just open a checking account at the Bank of North Dakota, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a pain.
I talked to Schultz Plumbing and Heating, and they were going to come and have a look at this and give us a rough time estimate on what.
On the EOC.
Yeah, on the EOC portion.
Okay.
We have to have any plumbing done in the courthouse to be able to use this plumbing in EOC since the entry is in the courthouse portion.
I don't know.
The big thing would be, you're gonna call the Brooksville Electric too, right?
Or Troy's gonna call them.
Oh, okay.
You want me to call him?
He's been in contact with them before.
Oh, okay, I guess we hadn't told you. That we do need, we do need you to call them.
We talked about it last week, and I was gonna do the plumbing and heating. Rob was gonna do the.
You volunteered me for something that you didn't even tell me you volunteered me for?
We see what schools are not.
So that falls back in the So anyway, yeah.
Well, there'll probably be a sign off on the entire fire alarm system for the entire building, so that could be a problem that, well, not that we need a certificate of occupancy, but we sure wouldn't get one without the electrical being signed off on the entire fire alarm.
Yeah, there might be some plumbing necessary in that portion of it just to get that portion.
We don't need to let a contract on that. We decided we're just going to go hire the contractors.
It falls under the, from what we know, it falls underneath the
Okay.
financial limits of what we need to do.
Okay.
I spoke with Aaron Burst about this, and those other contracts are done. We did the bidding, and if it's under $60,000, it's under the $100,000 threshold. So we can look to hire these guys unless we believe it's going to be over the $100,000. If we find out it's going to be over the $100,000 threshold, which
Do
actually
we need
it's
somebody
not.
to pour concrete too? Can we get that done?
Later, maybe. I was gonna call on the flooring and the doors, but that was the only thing I was gonna call.
I mean, it doesn't matter. We can.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I can bring some pallets in if we need
It
to.
might need a fun step. The only problem I see with I don't see a problem with finishing it, but I do see a partial problem with occupying it if we're saying that we don't have use of the whole thing. Of course, we don't have use of the courthouse portion of it anyway.
Well, we still don't have use of it to pay our rent. I mean,
Right.
we still are supposed to have use of that entire building for that rent. So
Well, and actually, the rent agreement is supposed to be modified where it is not inclusive of the EOC portion of it to satisfy the grant.
and they have been not. And maybe I need to add that to that letter because they have not been receptive to that before.
Well, because that's probably not possible.
Because the trustee would have to release that collateral
Right.
in order for that to take place, and the trustee is not. I mean, the banker is not really gonna be too keen on going to the bondholders and asking them to decrease their collateral. They got a building here with. They got a $3.5 million building collateralizing a $2.2 million obligation, and why would they want less? I mean, there's nothing in it for them. So,
No, there isn't, and I think we're okay on the EOC portion, the county's okay on the EOC portion, because although we don't have ownership now, we will have the ownership 20 years from now, and I think that's how the DES looked at it.
okay. Anything else for the good of the order?
So I just wait on this, Bill?
Yes,
Bring it back to you guys in a second?
please.
Perfect.
Motion to adjourn?
Been moved, Dale moved to adjourn. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by John. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 4:28 p.m. on March the 20th, 2015. Next regular meeting will be held on April 2nd at 1 p.m. And the one after that will be April 17th. Pardon?
It's good, there's a Good
It's Good Friday
It
on
must be
the
Good
third.
Friday after moving into the second. Because I kept looking at.
I don't know. Nobody asked me.
Yeah, it's Good
It's
Friday.
Good Friday on the 3rd, and so I pushed it up. I think I sent an email out and everybody said it's.
Yeah, because as you guys were saying, April 2nd,
I
I
think-
kept looking at it, that's a Tuesday.
I think you're just trying to take charge. You didn't send us an email.
So.
That gets you one whack with the hammer.
Sorry.